Chapter 111. The Dragon Fury team was the vanguard of Huaxia's Divine Dragon Troop. Every member of the Dragon Fury team possessed unique skills. Their identities were kept a secret, and no one knew what their background was. They had even forgotten where they came from. To be able to be selected into the Divine Dragon Troop, everyone had an extremely high foundation and a very good comprehension ability. In addition, they had received guidance from a super expert since childhood, so each of them had extraordinary skills. To be able to enter the Dragon Fury team from the Divine Dragon Troop, they were the cream of the crop. Su Yin had broken through to the second-rate expert realm when he was very young, so he became the youngest member of the Dragon Fury team. After breaking through to the first-rate expert realm at the age of 18, under the guidance of the Grandmaster Realm expert Wang Yi, he only took a year to become a first-rate expert at the peak of the 9th step. He was also promoted to the captain of the Dragon Fury team. In the same year, the previous instructor of the Dragon Fury team left due to health reasons. The commander of the Divine Dragon Troop, Lieutenant General Wang Yi, directly promoted Su Yin to be the instructor of the Dragon Fury team. Although Su Yin was young, he could be considered an old man in the Dragon Fury team. Moreover, his strength was there, so no one was unconvinced. In the next few years, the Dragon Fury team under the leadership of Su Yin accepted hundreds of troublesome missions, big and small. Every time, they were able to return victorious, which aroused the respect of the members. Moreover, Su Yin was proficient in pharmacology and medical skills. Almost all the members of the team who had been seriously injured were personally pulled back from the gates of hell by him. This strengthened Su Yin's position in the Dragon Fury team even more. Due to his hard work and meritorious service, Su Yin became the youngest major general in the Divine Dragon Squadron. His Dragon Fury team also became the sharpest blade of the Divine Dragon Squadron. If it weren't for the fact that he had been betrayed by the higher-ups during that mission, if it weren't for the fact that Yin Long had lost his life protecting Su Yin, if it weren't for the fact that Su Yin had killed someone who was forbidden to be killed in a fit of rage, perhaps he wouldn't have come to a small place like Hudong City. Everyone in Dragon's Fury thought that Su Yin had simply left to recuperate. They didn't know that Su Yin had been kicked out of the Dragon Fury team because of that incident. Su Yin could only remember that he had been in that place since the day he started to understand things. Ever since he was young, he had faced endless training and missions. Therefore, when Su Yin learned from your master, Wang Yi, that he had to leave, he didn't argue. Perhaps leaving was a good choice. At least he could live for himself. However, what Su Yin didn't expect was that after leaving, he actually missed that place so much. After leaving, Su Yin realized that he had been used and betrayed and still had to face such a result. There was also a period of time when he was disheartened. If it weren't for his strong state of mind, he probably wouldn't have been able to withstand the pressure and self-destruct. Su Yin didn't expect that he had unknowingly left Dragon's Fury for so long. In a bar with gorgeous lights and passionate music, Qianfeng ordered 2 bottles of Chivas and poured 3 glasses without mixing anything. He looked at Su Yin expectantly. "Boss, when are you coming back?" Su Yin smiled faintly and didn't say anything. He picked up his glass and changed the topic. "Is everyone okay?" Qianfeng nodded. His expression was a little conflicted, but in the end, he chose to tell Su Yin. "Well, it's okay. Black Dragon was seriously injured in a solo mission, and is still lying in bed." Su Yin's eyebrows knitted together. Black Dragon's strength was definitely above the 7th rank. How could he be injured so easily? Who injured him? "I don't know. He can't speak yet." Qianfeng was afraid that Su Yin would be worried, so he immediately explained, "But it's certain that his life is not in danger." Fan Shuanger just listened to the conversation quietly. She really didn't like this kind of noisy environment, and the drunk men's eyes. It was as if they wanted to take off their clothes. Su Yin gulped down the whole glass of whiskey, and his voice became bitingly cold. "What mission? Since you knew that the mission was dangerous, why didn't you send more people? Was it Ying Long's arrangement?" Qianfeng nodded. Although he didn't like Ying Long, he still explained, "It's not his fault. No one would have thought that Black Dragon would be defeated." Fan Shuanger finally couldn't help but say, "Some time ago, there was a big disturbance in the Swang underground world. Black Dragon was sent to investigate, But no one expected that he was almost dead when he came back. The doctor said that it was a miracle that he could make it back. So to recover his spirit, it will take 2 or 3 months. Disturbance in the Swang underground world. A cold light flashed in Su Yun's eyes. Was it because of Feng Qiansui? Speaking of the Swang underground world, Feng Qiansui had to be mentioned. He was the overlord there, and also the person who had suffered the most in this dispute. Could it be that Black Dragon was also involved in this matter? According to our current speculation, we suspect that this matter has something to do with Green Ghost. Qian Feng said and frowned. This matter was a secret among secrets for Dragon's Fury, but he didn't have any secrets in front of Su Yun, because in his heart, Su Yun was still the captain and instructor of Dragon's Fury. Fan Shuanger frowned and whispered, "Green Dragon, you can't talk about this." Qian Feng snorted. "Boss is not an outsider." Su Yun smiled faintly. He was almost done with his calculations. "That's why you took the initiative to investigate Red Scorpion, right?" "Yes." Qian Feng nodded. Red Scorpion is the strongest under Green Ghost. At this time he didn't stay in Swang, but ran to Hudong City. We were very surprised. In fact, when the higher-ups received the request for help from the Hudong City police, we had already applied to investigate this matter. Su Yun had already guessed this. Green Dragon. Fan Shuanger was a little unhappy. Qian Feng rolled his eyes. How was this bringing along a partner? It was simply bringing along a mother. Red Scorpion shouldn't have come to Hudong. Su Yun smiled. He didn't say anything about Guogua. Although he believed that Qian Feng wouldn't say anything, he couldn't guarantee that Fan Shuanger, a newcomer, wouldn't tell Shadow Dragon. After all, Shadow Dragon was too rigid and inflexible. He might really order someone to take Guogua away. If such a day really came, it would be embarrassing. But if we can see Violent Fox Venerable, it seems that things can be explained clearly, Qian Feng said faintly. Su Yun smiled. Everyone knew that Chou Yun was a general under Feng Qiansui. There was no doubt about this. Yin Long, how did you get involved with Violent Fox Venerable? Fan Shuanger had been holding back this question. In her eyes, Su Yun was still a member of Dragon's Fury. Even if he was no longer one of them, he shouldn't get involved with people from the underworld. Qian Feng stared at Fan Shuanger. That's not a name you can call out randomly. Girl, when the boss led us to fight to the death, where were you? Of course I know. Fan Shuang, said righteously, when I was in the Dragon's Fury Reserve team, I heard about the Flame Dragon, but I didn't see it with my own eyes. Who knows if it's just a rumor that's exaggerated? You, Qian Feng slammed his glass on the table. He couldn't bear to see others disrespect Su Yun. If it weren't for the fact that Fan Shuanger was a girl, he would have slapped her. Su Yun was very relaxed. Ha ha ha, what a good rumor. It's quite appropriate. Boss, don't mind her. She's just a little girl who doesn't know anything. I'll teach her a lesson later. Qian Feng glared at Fan Shuanger. Fan Shuanger was not convinced. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't come with you to drink. I just want to know where you saw Red Scorpion. You said you fought with him. Is that true? Su Yun pointed to the whiskey on the table. I'm no longer a member of Dragon's Fury, so I have no obligation to tell you. If I'm happy drinking today, maybe I can reveal a little. If you can finish this glass, I might be very happy. Qian Feng looked at Fan Shuanger with Schadenfreude. He didn't stand on her side at all. Drink, for the mission. Yinlong, don't embarrass us Dragon's Fury. Fan Shuanger glared at Qian Feng. You drink for me. His is another matter, Su Yun said lightly. Okay. I'll drink. Fan Shuanger took a deep breath and picked up the glass on the table. The strong taste made her almost unable to open her mouth. After all, she really hadn't drunk alcohol before. She couldn't enjoy unblended whiskey. But even so, Fan Shuanger, who wanted to get the mission clue, drank the whole glass in one breath. Pa. After drinking, Fan Shuanger slammed the glass on the table with an aura of a woman who didn't lose out to men. Qian Feng couldn't help but sigh. You're good. I didn't expect you to be so good at drinking. I really shouldn't have underestimated you as a partner. Not bad, not bad. I'll definitely bring you along when we go out drinking. Fan Shuanger resisted the heat and glared at Qian Feng. Then she turned to Su Yin. Can you tell me now? Okay. Su Yin always kept his word. I met Red Scorpion because… Wait! Fan Shuang'er suddenly shouted. Then, she covered her mouth and rushed to the bathroom without saying anything. She couldn't hold her liquor. One glass was enough to make her stomach churn for a while. Qianfeng laughed out loud, taking pleasure in his misfortune. Azure Dragon. Su Yin didn't laugh. After Fan Shuang'er left, he became serious. My advice to you is to leave immediately. You're not Red Scorpion's opponent, and she's even more impossible. Qianfeng's smile instantly turned serious. Boss, we've investigated Red Scorpion's strength. His strength shouldn't be too far from mine. If I have Yin Long's help, taking him down shouldn't be a problem. Su Yun's eyes were cold. That's not the problem. The problem is that he has the Yin Yang pill on him. Qianfeng's pupils dilated several times. You mean, the kind of forbidden medicine that can increase a person's strength by a level? That's right. Su Yun's affirmative answer made Qianfeng feel helpless. If Red Scorpion had eaten the forbidden medicine, he definitely wouldn't be a match for him and Yin Long. Chapter 112. Qianfeng was greatly shocked. He couldn't help but wonder, Boss, how did you resist that grandson's drug? The people of Dragon's Fury were well aware of Su Yun's strength. He was a first-rate master, a peak of the 9th step. But even if he was at the peak of the 9th step, it would be difficult for him to resist a super master under the influence of forbidden drugs. Speaking of which, I should thank him. If he hadn't forced my inner demons to erupt, I might not have been able to break through my mental state. Su Yin smiled. He raised his wine glass and touched Qianfeng's glass, indicating that he should drink with him. He didn't like to drink alone. Qianfeng's heart trembled. His hand trembled, and he almost dropped his wine glass. Mental state breakthrough. F***ck. This news shocked Qianfeng so much that he almost vomited blood. As expected of the boss, Qianfeng still remembered his grandmaster saying that Su Yin might not be able to break through his mental state in this lifetime. He didn't expect him to break through his mental state and reach the realm of a supermaster in just a year after leaving Dragon's Fury. One must know that Qianfeng only advanced by 2 levels after a year of hard work. Boss, you're not joking with me, right? Qianfeng swallowed his saliva. Why do I feel like I'm dreaming? I didn't drink too much? Su Yun smiled. Indeed, at that time, my grandmaster did give my mental state a death sentence. Maybe I'm just too lucky. Originally, my inner demons would have caused me to go berserk, but I didn't expect to break through my mental state by accident. Qianfeng was currently incomparably excited. He kept muttering to himself, That's great, that's great. If Master knew that you had broken through, he would definitely let you come back. I won't go back. Su Yin picked up 2 pieces of ice and threw them into the wine glass, shaking it. As for my matter, it's better if you don't mention it to Grandmaster. Why? Qianfeng was stunned. Su Yin didn't hide it. I left Dragon's Fury not only because I couldn't get rid of my inner demons, but also because of other reasons. So, even if I can control myself now, I still won't go back. Qianfeng didn't say anything else. He knew that once Su Yin decided on something, it was impossible for him to convince him otherwise. Boss, since you've broken through your mental state, Scarlet Scorpion shouldn't be your opponent, right? Using medicine to raise the level of one's mental state is, after all, a sham. Therefore, even though Scarlet Scorpion can make his ability reach the level of a super expert for a short period of time, he doesn't have true energy. Su Yun said indifferently. Although I seriously injured him, he was rescued because of a moment of carelessness. Qianfeng was startled. Who could save someone under your nose? Could he be a super expert as well? I'm not sure about this, but I don't think so. If he was really a super expert, I'm afraid he wouldn't just save someone and not make a move. Su Yun had a headache when he thought of this. Cho Yun was hit by Scarlet Scorpion's stinger. At that time, I only cared about detoxifying her, so I gave that person the opportunity to save Scarlet Scorpion. Qianfeng was slightly startled when he heard this. Boss, come to think of it, how did you get involved with people from the underground world? After going to the bathroom and vomiting, Fan Wushuang finally felt better. She really couldn't understand why so many people would drink such a disgusting thing. It was spicy and strong. She used all her strength to rinse her mouth. Poo. And woo. After Fan Wushuang rinsed her mouth, she noticed the sound next to her. She suddenly realized that a man and woman in extremely fashionable clothes were passionately hugging each other in the bathroom without any scruples. Moreover, they were crazily kissing. The man had a head of pink hair and didn't care that there were people around him. He had his hands all over the girl with long hair and a hip skirt in his arms. He even lifted her skirt, which was already revealing enough. A few fashionable girls coming in and out of the bathroom saw the scene and just laughed it off. Some even whistled to add to the atmosphere. This kind of chaotic scene was part of the bar culture. These bodies that had completely broken free from the shackles of soul ethics at night didn't care about other people's gazes. They only pursued the so-called excitement and pleasure, and didn't care about any sense of shame. Fan Wushuang, who grew up in the army, had never seen such a scene. This was her first time in a bar, and she usually only saw such scenes in movies. Immoral, Fan Wushuang spat out a few words in disgust. The passionate couple suddenly stopped. The woman did not even care about the fact that her skirt was lifted. She looked at Fan Schwanger with disdain and said, F***CK. What are you trying to do? Pretending to be a pure and innocent girl? The blonde man licked his lips and stared at Fan Wushuang, with lustful eyes. He had seen all kinds of green tea cheese in this bar, but this was the first time he had seen one. She didn't dress like a nightclub girl, but the strength in her bones was much more attractive than those slutty green tea cheese. Fan Wushuang clenched her fist at the woman's rude words and turned to leave. She forced herself to endure, not wanting to cause more trouble. Stop. The blonde man laughed. You have such a fiery temper. This is your first time here, right? TSK, looking at your clothes, I know you're a virgin. A virgin still so fiery. Aren't you afraid of being gang raped? The green tea TCH mocked as she pulled down her skirt. The blonde man smiled slightly. I like this type, hee. In response to these words, Fan Shuang forcibly suppressed her anger and continued to leave. However, the other party didn't seem to want to let her go so easily. Just as Fan Wushuang was about to leave, the blonde man grabbed her from behind. Of course, Fan Wushuang's vigilance was several times higher than an ordinary person's. Just as the yellow-haired man's hand was about to grab her, Fan Wushuang dodged to the side and kicked the yellow-haired man's face. The yellow-haired man screamed and flew out, smashing into the body of the woman who had screamed in fear. From beginning to end, Fan Wushuang didn't say a word. After kicking the blonde man, she walked straight out. She still wanted to hear news about Red Scorpion. When Fan Wushuang returned, she heard Qianfeng ask why the former boss of Dragon's Fury was mixed up with people from the underground world. She couldn't help but interrupt. Yes, why is Violent Fox Cho Yun also in that medicinal cuisine restaurant? Su Yun looked at Fan Wushuang, who had vomited, and said perfunctorily, can't she be in love? Bang. Qianfeng directly banged his head on the table. What kind of joke was this? Yanlong, the former instructor of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces, actually fell in love with the famous Violent Fox Venerable in the underground world. Who would dare to believe this? Fan Wushuang narrowed her eyes. So you joined an underground organization after leaving Dragon's Fury. Red Scorpion coming here must be related to you, right? You can't be in cahoots, right? Although Cho Yun used to be an underground person, she has turned over a new leaf. Su Yun shrugged. Even if Red Scorpion's purpose here is Cho Yun, that doesn't mean I'm related to Red Scorpion. Qianfeng glared at Fan Wushuang. Are you stupid? If Boss was in cahoots with him, he would have taken your life long ago. Besides, Red Scorpion was seriously injured by Boss. Of course he can't be related to Boss. Fan Wushuang's eyebrows twitched. You're lying, right? Is there a need for me to lie to you? Su Yun was speechless. Then where is Red Scorpion? Fan Wushuang continued to ask. Su Yun shook his head. Maybe he's gone, or maybe he's still hiding somewhere here. But I can guarantee that he won't show up easily. You won't be able to find him, so there's no point in you staying here. Let's go back. Why are you so sure that we won't be able to find him? Fan Wushuang was unconvinced. Su Yin smiled. In Hudong City, my eyes and ears are no less than the police. Bullshit. Fan Wushuang didn't believe him. Su Yin continued. And even if you find him, with your strength, you won't be able to catch him. Fan Wushuang glared. I don't believe you. Tianfeng had begun to wonder if he should follow Su Yun's instructions. Perhaps it was meaningless for them to stay. If that was the case, it would be better to go back and write a report. It's this B*TCH. Suddenly, an angry scolding interrupted the argument between Fan Wushuang and Su Yun. More than 20 people with dragon and tiger tattoos quickly surrounded the three of them, each of them full of anger and murderous intent. The yellow-haired man, who was kicked by Fan Wushuang, covered his bruised mouth and pointed at Fan Wushuang. Brother, it's this B*TCH who kicked me. F*CK. Don't you know whose place this is? How dare you hit my brother? The leader was shirtless, with a dragon tattooed on his body. He looked very fierce. Tianfeng gently placed the wine glass on the table. As long as these bastards dared to make a move, he would teach them how to write the word death. You're too angry, aren't you? Su Yin smiled, got up and walked to the front of the crowd. The man who was angry just now was suddenly startled. He carefully looked at the young man in beach shorts and flip-flops in front of him. His eyes were in a trance. You. Who are you? Su Yin played it down. Su Yin, from the medicinal cuisine restaurant not far from here. He's with Sister Shuang. The man who was angry just now instantly became dispirited. Ah. So it's Brother Yin. This brother knows his mistake, please forgive him. Brother Yin, I'm with Brother Feng. I didn't know these two were your friends. Brother Yin, please be magnanimous. The 20 people were dumbfounded. They looked at Su Yin as if they were looking at a god. This was a heavyweight. Su Yin waved his hand. It's nothing. It's just a misunderstanding. Go. The 20 people quickly retreated under the man's reprimand. The yellow-haired man was severely slapped several times. After the leader sent the yellow-haired man away, he got someone to send over a plate of fruits and wine. He even paid the bill. Su Yin smiled at Fan Shuang. Now you should believe me. Hudong is filled with my people. If I can't find Scarlet Scorpion, how can you? Tianfeng smiled bitterly. I never thought that the mysterious person who could unify Hudong's underground world would be you, boss. Then we'll go back tomorrow. Are you serious? Fan Shuang was stunned. She stared at Tianfeng. Tianfeng seriously ordered. I remember that before we came out, the higher-ups said that you must obey my orders. Fan Shuang wanted to object, but after she felt the seriousness and dignity in Tianfeng's words, she chose to obey in the end. Perhaps she was still too inexperienced and didn't know how to deal with such a thorny situation. Chapter 113. Some families were happy while others were sad. On one side, Su Yin was drinking and chatting with his brothers, enjoying life. On the other side, the Lu family was furious. When Jin Biao sent Lu Tianyi to Lu Sheng, who was staying at the Hudong International Hotel, Lu Sheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. After Jin Biao told him what had happened, Lu Sheng was even more furious. First, he was angry that his son was useless, doing such a thing for a woman. Then he was angry that someone dared to ruin the Lu family's reputation. Brother, they're not people to be trifled with. Jin Biao added fuel to the fire. Now Wu Lei and I have to follow their orders. I even suspect that they're the ones who killed Ma Pinghai. Red Scorpion, who had been hiding in the inner room, suddenly walked out. Who's so arrogant? Jin Biao was stunned. He didn't think that there would be someone else in the room. When he took a closer look, he recognized that the person in front of him was the wanted criminal who had terrorized the people of Hudong City. After all this time, this evil guy was hiding in Lu Sheng's hotel. Jin Biao's heart trembled. It seemed that Lu Sheng wasn't a simple person. Fortunately, he didn't make an enemy out of him all these years. Otherwise, he would have lost his life. No wonder Ma Pinghai and Wu Lei didn't provoke Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng could tell that Jin Biao was nervous. Brother Jin, I won't introduce this person to you. I'm sure you've heard of him before. He's more than heard of him, he's famous. Jin Biao was so nervous that he didn't even know how to flatter. Of course he was nervous. Even if he was the biggest villain in Hudong City, the guy in front of him wasn't human. He was a murderous demon. In front of a demon, villains were nothing. Red Scorpion looked at Jin Biao coldly. I killed Ma Pinghai because I don't want anyone to know about my situation. Jin Biao's heart was in his mouth. I won't tell anyone. Red Scorpion snorted, his laughter cold. Brother Lu Sheng, promise me that I'll keep my mouth shut. Jin Biao was panicking. He suspected that this demon wanted him dead. Red Scorpion, Brother Jin is my friend. He won't tell anyone about you. Moreover, he saved my son today. In the end, Lu Sheng still spoke up for Jin Biao for the sake of his son's kindness. Looking at his son, who was still in a semi-conscious state, Lu Sheng's anger surged again. Since you are Brother Sheng's friend, of course I won't do anything to you. Scarlet Scorpion said with a faint smile. He knew that even if he lent this fatty in front of him 2 times the courage, this fatty still wouldn't dare to go to the police station and spread rumors. Yes, we're all on the same side. Jin Biao hurriedly agreed. Red Scorpion snorted coldly and ignored Jin Biao, walking straight to Lu Tianyi. Seeing Lu Tianyi's injuries, Red Scorpion couldn't help but frown. Hudong City really is a place full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Brother Sheng, looks like you're not the only master here. Lu Sheng's patience had finally run out. He grabbed Jin Biao and said, Brother Jin, who on earth beat up my son like this? Jin Biao pretended to calm Lu Sheng down as he said, the person who beat up Tianyi is called Su Yun. He also beat up my son before, and took over my family business. Before Lu Sheng could react, Red Scorpion was shocked. He suddenly turned around and grabbed Jin Biao's collar. Gathering strength in his hands, he lifted Jin Biao's 200-kilogram fat body up. Su Yun? Are you telling the truth? Jin Biao was shocked by this sudden situation. He didn't know how he had offended this devil. The man's murderous aura made his legs go weak, and he couldn't resist at all. Of course it's true. I'm not lying at all. Red Scorpion, do you know that person? Lu Sheng snorted and looked up at Red Scorpion. I can't take this lying down. He felt that with such a first-class master under his command, it would be a pity if he didn't use him to show off. Therefore, Lu Sheng decided to let Red Scorpion help the Lu family vent their anger. After all, his son was his disciple. As a master, he couldn't just stand by and watch his disciple get beaten up. I don't know him. Red Scorpion acted out of character. He suddenly let go of Jin Biao's collar and glared at the half-dead Lu Tianyi, cursing the bastard in his heart. Of all people to mess with, he just had to mess with that person. What? You don't want to go? Lu Sheng immediately saw Red Scorpion's unnatural behavior. No. Red Scorpion said half-heartedly. If that's the case, then I'll go meet him tomorrow. Although Red Scorpion said so, he didn't tell Lu Sheng that Su Yun was the man who had almost killed him that night. If Lu Sheng went, he would only be throwing his life away. Lu Sheng's face immediately cleared. All right. Jin Biao also felt a burst of joy in his heart. He wanted both sides to suffer. However, he really didn't expect Lu Sheng to have such a devil in his hands. This was definitely a trump card. Why don't you stay tonight? Although I trust Brother Sheng, I still don't like to trust strangers. Red Scorpion's face revealed a sinister smile. Jin Biao was startled. This guy was indeed afraid that he would betray him. Lu Sheng nodded. He also didn't want to complicate matters. Tomorrow he would let Jin Biao see Red Scorpion's strength. This way, he definitely wouldn't dare to report to the police. Brother Jin, then I'll have to trouble you. No trouble at all. Not at all. Jin Biao hurriedly said. He decided that it was better to not mess with that kind of murderous devil. Even if he had the chance to go to the police station, he wouldn't throw away his life for that little bit of money. Lu Sheng prepared a room for Jin Biao, then found someone to treat his son's injuries. He kept cursing the person who had injured his son to this extent. Red Scorpion had returned to his room early. He had just decided that tonight, no matter what, he would leave Hudong City overnight. He originally thought that Lu Sheng's place was safe, and that he could recuperate and recuperate before returning. After all, Red Scorpion had failed. If Green Ghost were to punish him, with Red Scorpion's current body, he wouldn't be able to withstand a casual slap from Green Ghost. However, Red Scorpion would never have thought that bastard Lu Tianyi would actually provoke Su Yun. Lu Sheng, who didn't know anything just now, was still clamoring that he couldn't take it lying down. Humph, if Red Scorpion told him that the person who had hit his son was the one who had injured him in the medicinal cuisine restaurant, who knew what kind of expression he would have on his face? Red Scorpion was only half-heartedly talking to Lu Sheng, so that he could leave more smoothly tonight. If Lu Sheng knew that he didn't have the ability to deal with Su Yun and wanted to leave, Lu Sheng might really hand him over to the police for a reward. Although Red Scorpion wouldn't die in the hands of the police, with his current physical condition, he would inevitably suffer some difficulties. From the very beginning, Lu Sheng had the mentality of using him. Red Scorpion was very clear about this. He stayed only for his own sake, and now he still had to think for himself. If he went back to face Green Ghost and explain things properly, he might be able to keep his life. If he were to face Su Yun again in Hudong City, then only death would await him. Since things had developed to this point, Red Scorpion could only tuck his tail between his legs and be a stray dog for once. Where there's life, there's hope. At this time, the most important thing was to preserve his life. As long as he stayed alive, there would come a time when he would get back at Lu Sheng for today's humiliation. When that time came, Green Ghost would personally take action. Even if Su Yun was a super expert who had broken through the state of mind, he would still be defeated. Lu Sheng, who was kept in the dark, didn't know that Red Scorpion was preparing to leave tonight. He was still thinking about how to avenge his son the next day. Jin Biao was secretly happy in his sleep. In tomorrow's battle, no matter who won or lost, he wouldn't suffer any losses. Maybe in the end, when the snipe and the clam fought, he would be able to reap the benefits. Early the next morning, Fan Shuanger drove the hungover Qianfeng back to Yanjing without hesitation. Su Yun also walked back to the medicinal cuisine restaurant, exhausted. As soon as he entered, he bumped into Guogua. Guogua looked at Su Yun in surprise. "Dad, Sister Wanner didn't come back." "You didn't come back either?" When Guogua shouted, Wan Qingxuang immediately walked out of the room. She looked at Su Yun with a puzzled gaze. She seriously wondered why Su Yun had also stayed overnight with Qin Wanner at Miss Su's house. Although Cho Yun knew that Su Yun had come back last night, and that he had run into some trouble at the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant, of course, she wouldn't help Su Yun explain this. "Did Sister Wanner ask you to teach her how to use a pistol yesterday?" Guogua tilted her head, looking puzzled. Don't tell me that Miss Su also wants to learn?" F***ck. Su Yun really wanted to bang his head against the wall and die. Wan Qingxuang knew that things weren't like what Guogua said, but when she thought of Su Yun staying overnight with two girls, her face blushed slightly. "Does Miss Su have an extra bed in her house?" Su Yun smiled helplessly. "Sister Shuang, I met two friends at the bar last night. The boss there can testify. I didn't mean to question you. You don't have to explain to me," Wan Qingxuang said awkwardly. She wasn't anyone to him, so of course, she didn't have the right to question him. Guogua looked puzzled. "Dad, is it true that the flowers at home don't have the fragrance of the wild flowers?" "Mom and Sister Cho Yun, how can we not compare to those silly girls who go to bars every day and let men take advantage of them?" Cho Yun dragged Guogua into the bathroom. "Wash your face and brush your teeth before going to school." Guogua could only obediently obey. "I'll go make breakfast for you guys," Su Yun said. "You didn't sleep last night, right? Go rest for a while. I'll go fry some eggs," Wan Qingxuang said with concern. "Drinking at night must be uncomfortable. I'll make you a cup of honey water later." Hearing this, Su Yun's heart was filled with endless emotions. What was happiness? Happiness wasn't a cat eating fish, a dog eating meat, or Ultraman beating up small monsters. Happiness was that even if he didn't return home at night, he could still be cared for by such a gentle Sister Shuang when he came back. He could die without regrets. Chapter 114. Although Su Shaoran was frightened yesterday, Qin Wan'er, her best friend who knew a little about psychology, was able to help her adjust her mood overnight. Because Guogua's school bag was still in the car, Su Xiaoran decided to pick Guogua up early in the morning. So when Su Xiaoran and Qin Wan'er arrived at the medicinal cuisine restaurant, the fried eggs were ready and the milk was heated. Everyone sat down and enjoyed breakfast together. Qin Wan'er did not know how Su Yin would explain what happened yesterday to SisterQingshuang, so she did not mention it. Ruan Qingshuang was not the kind of person who gossiped. As long as she saw that everyone was fine, she was relieved. As for what happened yesterday, she did not think it was necessary to bring up the scars again. Although Guogua sometimes talked without thinking, she was not at ease. Although it was a special situation, she did not do her homework yesterday. She was afraid that she could not escape being punished by the other teachers who had assigned her homework. Guogua, it was a special situation yesterday, so I will help you explain to the other teachers that you did not do your homework. Su Xiaoran seemed to see Guogua's nervousness. Really? Guogua was stunned. She suddenly blinked her big eyes, and was so grateful that she was about to cry. Miss Su is really the best teacher in the world. Guogua loves you so much. If I were a man, I would marry only you. The words of the little thing made everyone chuckle. Speaking of men, Qin Wan'er suddenly felt that something was missing. Indeed, where was the only man in the restaurant? Sister Qingshuang, where is Su Yin? Qin Wan'er looked around. No wonder she felt that the restaurant was strange today. He is resting upstairs. Ruan Qingshuang ate the fried eggs in small bites and drank a mouthful of warm milk. Sleeping early in the morning? This was not his style. Qin Wan'er frowned and felt a little strange. Dad didn't come home last night. Guogua directly confessed. He spent the night in a bar, and when he came back in the morning, he reeked of alcohol. I think he really went to pick up girls yesterday. Ruan Qingshuang glared at Guogua. Kids shouldn't talk nonsense. Drink the milk and go to school. Guogua was not convinced. Who's talking nonsense? I clearly saw a long hair on his shoulder. Su Yin, who was upstairs, heard everything clearly. He broke out in a cold sweat. He looked down and saw that Guogua was telling the truth. It was probably left behind when he fought with Fan Shuang, yesterday. F***ck. If you use this to conclude that I'm hitting on a girl, then I'm being wrongly accused. Fortunately, when Guogua drank the last mouthful of milk and wanted to explain in detail, she was picked up by Chou Yun and walked out. Su Xiaoran saw this and followed. Since they were here, of course she wanted to bring Guogua to school. However, she was not used to the feeling of Chou Yun in the car. Although Qin Wan'er did not sleep well last night, she could not be late for the weekly meeting in the institute. So she left in a hurry. Ruan Qingshuang shook her head helplessly. These guys were really getting busier and busier. Even Su Yin was so busy that he didn't come home at night. Not sure if it was because of Guogua's words, Ruan Qingshuang was inexplicably curious. What kind of friend did Su Yin meet yesterday? Was it a girl? It seemed to be a very close friend. Otherwise, how could even her hair be? Forget it, forget it. Ruan Qingshuang shook her head vigorously. She really did not understand what she was thinking. Fortunately, Liangshan and LV Winnie came early today and quickly diverted Ruan Qingshuang's attention. However, what surprised her more was that Dan Jiahao came to the medicinal cuisine house before 9 o'clock, just in time to meet the people who came to the market to deliver food. Dan Jiahao was sweating. He put the 2 ounces of wolfberry in his hand on the counter, and took out the receipt issued by the medicinal cuisine house. He greeted Sister Shuang, and went directly to carry the food with Liangshan. Ruan Qingshuang smiled helplessly. This brat was too serious, wasn't he? Was he really going to carry out Su Yun's words? Liangshan could not help but say, "Brat, you just came back after running so far. Go drink some water and rest. I can handle this by myself." "No need." Dan Jiahao waved his hand. "I don't need your pity. This is Brother Yun's experience for me. Don't think about tripping me up. I will definitely persevere." Liangshan really did not know whether to laugh or cry. This little bastard was quite stubborn. "Oh, okay. Experience is good for you. Then you should work hard. This work was originally yours." Dan Jiahao snorted. "Then you put it down. You don't need to touch it." Ruan Qingshuang looked at the two bickering, and could only helplessly shake her head. These guys AI. Do you think I want to do it? Liangshan directly stuffed the 2 bags of food from the car back. TSK, I'm happy to be free. The young man who came to deliver the food was speechless. Why were these 2 fighting for no reason? Brother, I think you should hurry up and unload the food. I'm in a hurry to go back. Ruan Qingshuang was embarrassed by the words. Just as she was about to ask Liangshan to unload the car, Liangshan refused. What's the hurry? I'm not in a hurry yet. You're panicking. Don't you understand that the customer is God? We are God. The young man who delivered the food was intimidated by Liangshan, this black man, and did not dare to talk nonsense. Although he did not say anything, he directly got out of the car and prepared to help unload the food. Dan Jiahao was unhappy. You don't understand human language, right? I said I'll do it myself. Go, 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 don't mess around in front of me. Go play somewhere else. Damn. Why don't you know what's good for you? The young man who delivered the food was really speechless and impatient. If the other party was not a customer, he would have already scolded. Ruan Qingshuang sighed and turned back into the house to help LV when he wiped the table. She couldn't do anything about it, and couldn't be bothered either. Dan Jiahao's brother had already said that he was here to train him. Since he was willing to do so, then so be it. Su Yin was watching from the window on the 2nd floor, amused. Who knew how long this kid could last? However, the strength in his body was still pretty good. The child could be taught, and he was not a rotten piece of wood. Lu Xing got up early in the morning and had someone prepare breakfast. He then woke up his limping son, and the 2 of them personally went to invite Red Scorpion. However, after knocking for a long time, they did not get a response from inside. Even Jin Biao, who was in the next room, was woken up by the noise. He ran out and asked, "What's going on? Dad, is my master still not awake? Why don't we call him later?" Lu Tiany's entire body was indescribably heavy. It was a pain. Lu Xing frowned. As a first-class expert, it was impossible for Red Scorpion not to hear the knocking. Could it be that he was not in? But where could he have gone so early in the morning? Jin Biao was good at reading people's expressions. When he saw the change in Lu Sheng's expression, he couldn't help but ask, "Brother, do you want to go in and take a look? Could something have happened to him? You're disturbing my master? Do you want to die?" Lu Tianyi glared at Jin Biao. He didn't know how to hide his feelings like his father, so he scolded him directly. With the Lu family's strength, there was no need for him to address Jin Biao as his brother. Jin Biao's face reddened from the scolding. He thought to himself, why didn't this bastard get beaten to death by Su Yun? Lu Xing took a deep breath and kicked the door open with a loud bang. The room was empty, and there was no sign of life at all. Bastard. Lu Xing scolded in a low voice. He actually left without saying goodbye. Yesterday he was still talking about what he was going to do, and now he's gone. And here I thought he was some first-class expert. To put it bluntly, he's just a coward. He's just a piece of trash who doesn't dare to fight after being injured. Jin Biao didn't understand what Lu Xing was saying at all. He felt a bit relieved. At least that person didn't take his life. Lu Tianyi panicked. Dad, where's my master? Is he not going to avenge me? Lu Xing snorted. That ungrateful bastard. I thought I treated him well, but he left just like that. Don't count on him. It's a good thing he helped you open up your basic meridians. I didn't save him for nothing. Then what about my revenge? Lu Tianyi was of course unwilling. I'll take care of it for you myself. Lu Xing's heart was burning with rage. With nowhere to vent it, he punched the wall. The wall actually caved in, revealing the reinforced concrete inside. Jin Biao's eyes were wide open. He never would have thought that Lu Xing, who was older than him, would be so fierce. His fist had even dug through the cement in front of him. That was even better than an electric drill. That place was a load-bearing wall. Jin Biao, you know where that person is, don't you? Lu Xing raised his eyebrows. Take me there. Jin Biao's heart surged. He suddenly realized that there was always someone better in this world. Before, he thought that Su Yin was invincible. He didn't expect Lu Xing to be the real deal. He could even punch through a load-bearing wall. No wonder he dared to call an S-class wanted criminal brother. It seemed that he was the most secretive person in Hudong City. Indeed, Lu Sheng's strength was as strong as a second-rate fighter's. After all, Su Yun and Chou Yun didn't use their true strength in front of Jin Biao that day. At most, they were only third-rate fighters. Therefore, Jin Biao was certain that Lu Sheng was stronger than the other two. In Jin Biao's eyes, it was time to completely overthrow the rising power in the southern district of Hudong City. As long as they were there, the remaining 3 tigers of Hudong City would be nothing. Jin Biao's plan was perfect. Now that Ma Pinghai of the northern district was dead, the only one who could stand on equal footing with him in Hudong City was Wu Lei. However, Wu Lei and Lu Sheng weren't friends. If he took advantage of Lu Sheng's friendship and took over the 2 forces in the northern and southern districts of Hudong City, Wu Lei would have to bow down to him. Then the whole of Hudong City would belong to him. If Lu Sheng refused to cooperate with him, Jin Biao decided to go to the police and sue him for harboring criminals. His nephew was in the police force anyway. Once he was transferred, he would probably be able to work in the city police station. By then he would be able to do whatever he wanted. I know where he is. I'll take you there. After Jin Biao thought about it, he immediately agreed. Brother, do we still need to bring anyone? Lu Sheng snorted. No need. Just the 2 of us are enough. Chapter 115. When Dan Jiahao finished moving all the fresh vegetables, Su Yun also came down from upstairs. Su Yun looked at the wolfberry Dan Jiahao bought and threw it to Liangshan. Shanzi, take this and make him a pork rib soup. Okay. Liangshan grinned and took the order. He didn't hate the stubborn Dan Jiahao anymore. Ruan Qingshuang was really surprised. She thought Su Yun would continue to attack this guy. In fact, Dan Jiahao's performance was indeed praiseworthy. She just didn't know if this guy would be proud of it. Dan Jiahao was stunned for a moment, and then became excited. Brother Yin, you mean you're willing to teach me? Su Yun really had a headache. This guy was really bright when given a little sunshine. I'm afraid you'll die here. What if your brother comes and asks for you? Dan Jiahao's surging heart wilted again. He walked to the bathroom listlessly. 2 minutes later, he came out with a clean mop to mop the floor. He made his position clear. He was willing to work hard without complaint. He didn't believe that Su Yun wouldn't be soft-hearted. Xiaohao, take a rest. Ruan Qingshuang was really afraid of exhausting him. She was too kind. There was no other way. This means he still has energy. Let him work. Su Yun didn't soften at all. I've seen a lot of people who can work. Only those who can persevere are capable. Dan Jiahao didn't say anything and started to mop the floor. In his ears, Su Yun's words were a kind of encouragement. When Liangshan came out of the kitchen with wolfberry rib soup, a Mercedes-Benz S350 suddenly blocked the entrance of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Su Yun glanced at it and was a little puzzled. Why was Jin Biao here? When Lu Tianyi got out of the car, Su Yun understood. It seemed that Jin Biao was up to something again. Since he wasn't honest, Su Yun didn't plan to let him go back. After Jin Biao and Lu Sheng got out of the car, their faces were full of confidence. Lu Sheng frowned. Why did this place look so familiar? Because he had been too excited that night when he had rescued Scarlet Scorpion. Coupled with the soul-stirring confrontation between experts he had seen from afar, he had completely forgotten that he had rescued Scarlet Scorpion from this place. If he knew, then even if his son died, he wouldn't have come here to seek revenge. Lu Tianyi couldn't care less about the surprise on his father's face. Despite the pain all over his body, he still strode forward. Someone's here to cause trouble. Su Yun smiled. Liangshan didn't even have time to put down the pork rib soup in his hand. He walked straight to the door, exuding an imposing aura. Whoever wanted to touch Su Yun would have to step on his body first. Dan Jiahao tossed the mop aside and ran even faster than Liangshan. He was running for his life. No matter how weak Lu Tianyi was, he was still a third-rate expert whose basic meridians had been opened by Scarlet Scorpion. Seeing Dan Jiahao coming at him, he sent him flying with a whip kick. Because Su Yun had stabbed him in the leg yesterday, Lu Tianyi's kick wasn't enough to seriously injure Dan Jiahao. Liangshan didn't care who he was when he saw the other party make a move. He poured the boiling pork rib soup on Lu Tianyi's head. Just as Lu Tianyi was screaming from the heat, Liang Shan's kick was like a cannon, sending Lu Tianyi flying out the door. Su Yun's eyes lit up. Shanzi was indeed a fierce person. Although he hadn't reached the threshold yet, he was able to send Lu Tianyi flying with a kick. With his physique and comprehension, if he had been taught since he was young, he would have reached the level of a second-rate expert. What a pity! In the blink of an eye, Lu Xing got out of the car and saw that his son had been badly scalded and thrown out by someone. His anger rushed to his head, and all his previous worries were gone. He was certain that the person who had kicked his son out was Su Yun, and a murderous aura rose. Su Yun, I'm going to take your life today. Lu Xing shouted angrily and slammed his palm toward Liang Shan's face. Although Lu Xing was over 50 years old, his speed and aura were something Liang Shan couldn't have imagined. Su Yun was shocked. The wind from this person's palm actually contained a strong hidden force. Only second-rate experts could cultivate overlapping force. Su Yun knew this very well. Even if Liang Shan's physique was extraordinarily good, there was no way he could take a full blow from a second-rate expert. If this palm really hit Liang Shan's face, he would die on the spot. If it was light, he would suffer a concussion and become a vegetable. In the nick of time, Su Yun leaned forward and grabbed Liang Shan's shoulder with his left hand. His right palm met the wind from Lu Xing's palm. With a boom, the two palms collided. Jin Biao's surprise quickly turned into joy. In his opinion, Su Yun, who had put him in such a difficult position, was finally going to die. After all, he had seen Lu Xing punch through the load-bearing wall with his own eyes. In any case, he hadn't endured Han Xian's humiliation for nothing. However, Jin Biao's joy only lasted for a second. Lu Xing was just a second-rate expert. In the eyes of Su Yun, who had become a super expert, what was he? With just one palm, Lu Xing felt that his overlapping force had been dissolved by the invisible genuine qi. Then, a force that he couldn't resist rushed into his heart and lungs. A mouthful of pus and blood spurted out. Lu Xing's high-spirited aura was gone. It was as if his soul had been sucked out of his body. He fell heavily outside the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Jin Biao's eyes widened, his pupils shrinking. The fear in his heart was indescribable. Liang Shan broke out in a cold sweat. Lu Xing's aura had directly overwhelmed him. If not for Su Yun's help, he might not have been able to escape. The fear made him break out in cold sweat. All he could do was look at Su Yun with gratitude. Dan Jiahao, who had been kicked by Lu Tianyi, stood up, trembling. The pain made him grimace. Su Yun smiled bitterly. This guy's ability to take hits was not bad. He could still stand up after being kicked. That showed his perseverance. Fortunately, Lu Tianyi was injured and powerless. Otherwise, Dan Jiahao would have at least broken a few ribs. Everything happened too quickly. Wan Qingshuang didn't even have time to react. She just stared blankly at them. Although LV Winnie had seen gangsters fight before, she had never seen such a movie-level confrontation. So, she could only stare blankly like Wan Qingshuang. Jin Biao, what's going on? Aren't you going to explain to me? Su Yun clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. Jin Biao was completely defeated. He shook his head hard, but the scene in front of him was already a fact. There was nothing he could do to change it. Dan Jiahao had been a gangster since he was young. Of course, he had heard of Jin Biao and the other fierce people. But now Jin Biao was like a stray dog in front of Su Yun. He didn't have the aura of a boss at all. This made Dan Jiahao even more determined to take Su Yun as his master. Jin Biao was flustered. He stuttered and didn't know where to start. Boss. Boss Yun, I was forced. They forced me to come. Su Yun didn't have the time to listen to his nonsense. He had just brought Lu Tianyi to the police station in Tuashan district yesterday, and specifically told Jin Biao to keep a close eye on him. Today, this grandson of his dared to cause trouble in front of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. If Jin Biao didn't do something, then Su Yun must have been dreaming yesterday. Who are they? How can they be so capable? Even the boss of Donghai was forced to do something? Su Yun frowned. Speak clearly, and I might let you live. In order to save his life, Jin Biao didn't care about anything else. Brother Yin, the kid you beat up yesterday is Lu Sheng's son. He's the boss of Hudong City's international hotel. No one dares to touch him in Hudong City. Oh, the boss of Hudong City's International Hotel. Su Yin sneered inwardly. I haven't even bothered you about the medicinal cuisine, and now you're coming to me. But that's good. It saves me a lot of trouble. Today, I'll settle all the old and new debts for you. So you took the person I told you to keep a close eye on yesterday, and handed him over to his father? Su Yin laughed softly. Jin Biao, you really are a fence-sitter. Did you think that this old bastard's strength was extraordinary, so you took the opportunity to let him deal with me so you could reap the benefits? I wouldn't dare. Having his thoughts exposed, Jin Biao hurriedly waved his hands. Brother Yin, I just wanted to do you a favor. I didn't know Jin Biao suddenly had an idea. I didn't know that after I went there, this guy was actually harboring that wanted criminal. They forced me to bring them here. Wanted criminal? Su Yun stared at Jin Biao. That S-class wanted criminal? Seeing that Su Yun's target had changed, Jin Biao quickly nodded. Yes. That's the guy. He's a devil. I don't dare to disobey him. If I don't listen, he'll kill me. Where's that wanted criminal? Right now, Su Yun was already too lazy to care about these trivial matters. Finding Scarlet Scorpion was the most important thing. Jin Biao, I'm warning you. If you dare to speak half a word of falsehood, I have a method to make you wish you were dead. Hearing this, Jin Biao's whole body trembled. He finally knew what a fierce person was, so of course he didn't dare to speak carelessly. That person ran away. Ran away? Su Yun's brows knitted together. Jin Biao, you dare to trick me? Jin Biao almost knelt down. Brother Yin, even if you lent me 100 guts, I still wouldn't dare to lie to you. I really didn't lie to you. Last night, that person even promised to come and take care of you. No, come and find you. But this morning he disappeared. Su Yun stepped forward and grabbed Lu Sheng's collar, not treating him like an old man at all. Tell me, where's Red Scorpion? Lu Sheng coughed dryly. He knew that there was nothing he could do this time. He also realized that this was where he had saved Red Scorpion that night, and the person who had beaten Red Scorpion to such a state was the young man in front of him. I really didn't expect Hudong City to have such hidden talents. Cough. Lu Sheng spoke slowly as he coughed. Looks like Red Scorpion knew we were coming here and actually ran away in fear. Cough. Looks like I really misjudged you. Su Yun was stunned. So the person who saved him that night was you. That's right. It's just that I'm old and my eyesight isn't good. I actually didn't recognize that this was the place where the big battle took place that night. Cough. Lu Sheng was already having difficulty breathing. My life has been worth it. Being defeated by a super expert today can be considered an honor to my ancestors. Cough. On account of my age, just give me a quick death. Su Yun knew that Red Scorpion had already left, so he threw him to the ground. Kill you? You're dreaming. Wait for the police. Chapter 116. Qin Wen'er quickly arrived with her men. The evidence of Lu Sheng harboring Red Scorpion was conclusive, and the hotel staff was willing to testify, so the crime was basically confirmed. However, the police's digging ability was not trivial. They finally found out that Lu Sheng and his son were actually the masterminds of a murder case 5 years ago. In the afternoon, there were clues about whether Red Scorpion had escaped. Red Scorpion had probably left by train overnight. Although he had disguised himself very well, a camera somewhere in the train station had inadvertently captured the moment when he took off his hat and scratched his head. Red Scorpion's hair color was very unique and easy to recognize. Moreover, his body was very similar in all aspects. The train was headed northeast, which made Su Yun somewhat confused. Logically speaking, Scarlet Scorpion should have fled back to Smong. What was his purpose for taking a detour? If Su Yun knew Green Ghost's temperament, it would not be difficult to analyze. Red Scorpion was worried that Green Ghost would accidentally kill him in a rage. If that happened, he would be very wronged. It would be better for him to hide far away and pass on the information. That way he could save his own life first and not delay Green Ghost's work. Although Su Yun always thought that he should not believe it unless he saw it with his own eyes, he decided to trust the police's investigation this time. Soo-yun had originally considered the possibility that Red Scorpion might have escaped, so he basically concluded that the guy had left Hadong. It seemed that Soo-yun's decision was not wrong. Letting Azure Dragon and Yinlong go back first was also the right decision. After all, the opponent was too cunning. It was a pity that they missed this good opportunity to catch Red Scorpion. The Red Scorpion incident had caused quite a stir. It had even implicated the owner of the biggest hotel in Hadong. Of course, Jin Biao was also involved. Because of Jin Biao, his good nephew Qi Yishan was also implicated. The police chief, Chen Wei, was furious. He immediately ordered that he be removed from his post and severely punished. He also informed the whole department that if any police officers were found to be in cahoots with the underworld, they would all be removed. When Qin Wan heard what he said, her heart started to beat faster. This incident had a huge impact in Hadong City. With the help of the 3 tigers of the South City, almost everyone knew about Sister Frost's existence. Wu Lei, the only remaining boss of the Western District in Hadong City, had openly declared his allegiance to Sister Frost. Because of this merit, Qin Wan was directly transferred to the Criminal Investigation Department of the Hadong Police Station by Chen Wei. Because she was not familiar with the work, she was so busy that she barely slept for the past 3 days. Of course, Soo-yun wasn't idle either. Every day, there would be gangsters from various districts begging the 3 tigers of Southern City to recommend them. There were countless people who wanted to treat him to a meal, and every one of them had the heart to pledge their allegiance to him. After all, the most powerful of the 3 tycoons of Hadong City had been killed. Wang Qing, who used to do whatever she wanted in Hadong City, had sold all her assets and fled with her son. She had no intention of caring about her husband, Jin Biao. Cho Yun finally felt a little more relaxed these days, but she soon realized that the elimination of the danger was only temporary. Even Red Scorpion had run away with his tail between his legs. Green Ghost would come in person sooner or later. Although Cho Yun knew that Soo Yun's strength had reached an unattainable level, with a super master around, she did feel that she and Guoguo were very safe. However, Green Ghost was not someone to be trifled with. Based on the fight between her and Green Ghost was definitely a super master. Now, Cho Yun's only worry was whether Soo Yun, who had just broken through to become a super master, had the ability to fight against Green Ghost. She decided to take a gamble. She decided to believe in Soo Yun. This was not a choice that Cho Yun made without any evidence. This was because she clearly remembered the man and woman that night. Both of them were very powerful. Soo Yun actually knew such a first-class master, which inspired Cho Yun's confidence in him. After all, Cho Yun and Guoguo had nowhere to go. It was better to stay by Soo Yun's side. If there was really a day when they could not handle it, Cho Yun really had nothing to complain about. Ruan Qingshuang was still taking care of the medicinal cuisine restaurant's business every day as usual. She did not know that she had already entered the eyes of many people. She also did not know that she had unknowingly become the #1 person who led the underground forces of Hadong City. Soo Yun should be the biggest beneficiary of this confrontation. Although they did not catch Red Scorpion, because of him, the police caught the Yagyu father and son. They also confirmed the information about Red Scorpion. So in the end, the 500,000 yuan reward was decided to be given to him. Such a large sum of money was enough to make Soo Yun's mouth split open. 500,000 yuan, how should he spend it? Should he buy a BMW or a whole Mercedes-Benz? Or should he buy a Land Rover or a Jeep Wrangler to play with first? However, before Soo Yun could figure out where to spend the money, Qin Wan came back with shocking news. The Yagyu father and son have been sentenced to death. They will be deprived of their political rights for life, and all their assets will be confiscated. Now the government has decided to auction off their fixed assets. Qin Wan came back from work and announced the shocking news. The starting price of their villa in the eastern suburbs is 1 million yuan. The Hadong International Hotel is also his private property. The starting price is 8 million yuan. Soo Yun's eyes widened in disbelief. The Hadong International Hotel was the most prosperous place in the central area of Hadong City, occupying nearly 4 acres of land. The hotel had 4 floors below, including a hall, a small hall and a single room, which could accommodate more than 150 guests at the same time. The top 5 floors were guest rooms with a total of 120 standard rooms, more than 50 deluxe rooms, and 4 super suites on the top floor. How much was this building worth? Not to mention the current price of 1 acre of land. It was only 8 million yuan. However, this news was basically ignored by Ruan Qingshui. She did not have that much money, so she did not even dare to think about it. Chou Yun did not care about this at all. Sister Wan, are you serious? Guoguo's eyes lit up. So cheap? Just the area alone is worth a few million yuan. To build a hotel like that now, it would cost at least 10 million yuan. Moreover, it is a profitable hotel. The lowest value would be more than 30 million yuan. Su Yin did not expect that the only person with foresight there was Guogua. He did not expect that she could estimate the lowest value of that place after going there once. Qin Wanner shrugged. The starting price is of course low. The auction will start tomorrow, and many people will participate in the auction. It will definitely be higher than the 30 million yuan you said. Guogua's eyes flashed a cunning light. Su Yin was shocked. It seemed that this little girl had her own idea. Dad, let's buy that place, okay? Guogua certainly would not let Su Yin down. She threw a big wink over. Okay. Su Yin almost vomited blood. What the F***ck? I only gave you 500,000 yuan. Where am I going to get tens of millions of yuan for you? Guogua, what nonsense are you talking about? Didn't you hear Sister Wan say that it is more than 30 million yuan? Ruan Qingshui shook her head helplessly. Stop fooling around. Guogua rolled her eyes. How am I fooling around? Dad has a lot of money. Su Yin smiled bitterly. I really don't have that much. Mom, let's all pool together? Guogua pouted. There are so many businesses during this time. Mom, you can't be stingy. Ruan Qingshui shook her head helplessly. She was not lying. Indeed, the medicinal cuisine house has been making a lot of money during this time. Together with the profits from the branches, I do have more than 500,000 yuan in my hands. But even if your dad and I take out all of it, it will only be a little more than 1 million yuan, right? Guogua licked her lips and looked at Su Yun. Dad, what should we do? You can use the platinum card to overdraw some. Even if I have 2 platinum cards, I can't overdraw 30 million yuan. Su Yun was really crying. And after the card was overdrawn, if he did not pay it back within a month, someone would definitely come to him. Su Yun, who had been kicked out of Dragon's Fury, was not qualified to use this card. However, Wang Yi turned a blind eye and hoped that Su Yin could use it for emergencies. Therefore, unless it was a last resort, Su Yin would not easily overdraw the amount that he could not repay within a month. Guogua sighed helplessly. Sigh, what a good opportunity. What a waste. Okay, stop daydreaming. Qin Wan patted Guogua's head. If I had known, I wouldn't have said it. We are not millionaires. We can't catch this kind of opportunity. Guogua suddenly said something that shocked everyone to the point of petrification. 8 million. If everyone knows that Mom is going to bid, as long as Mom calls the first bid, I'd like to see who dares to say anything. Guogua put her hands on her waist and said angrily, What the hell? What an evil idea. With Ruan Qingshuang's current influence in Hudong City, if she really called the price, no one would dare to compete with her. This was really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. With only 8 million, they could get a hotel worth more than 30 to 50 million. This was a business that could make them a lot of money. Su Yin was indeed tempted. Now he and Ruan Qingshuang had 1 million in their hands. They were still short of 7 million. Although the platinum card could overdraw 10 million, Su Yin definitely could not repay 7 million in a month. A hotel's monthly income of 2 million should not be a problem. However, 7 million was too much. After all, such a big place was expensive to maintain. It required a lot of manpower and all kinds of maintenance. It would be good if we could get 8 million and 10,000. Guogua bit her finger unwillingly. Su Yin frowned. If I overdraw 2 million, with the hotel's ability, I should be able to pay it back in a month. Now Sister Shuang and I have more than 1,200,000. Together, we have 3,200,000. We are still short of 4,800,000. Hearing Su Yun's words, Guogua completely gave up. She sighed heavily. Sigh. But life was like being at the end of the road. There was always a glimmer of hope in the dark. Cho Yun, who had been silent, suddenly said, Guogua, I have 4,500,000 left by your grandfather. These words almost shocked everyone. No one expected Cho Yun to have so much money. Wan Qingshuang could not believe that the little Guogua that she picked up from the junkyard was a rich princess. Her grandfather was so rich. 4,500,000. Su Yun was a little disappointed. Damn, Feng Qiansui's net worth was at least a few hundred million. He only left 4,500,000 for Guogua. Damn. Even so, they were still short of 200,000 to 300,000. Although Qin Wan was shocked by Cho Yun's 4,500,000, she also raised her hand. I have 300,000 in my card. My dad gave me the money to buy a car. I have not used it. Otherwise. Chapter 117. The shuffle and swung was too sudden. Feng Qiansui had no time to think about money. He only wanted to save Guogua's life, so he didn't think about money at all. Therefore the 4.5 million that Cho Yun had was not left by Feng Qiansui to Guogua, but by herself. She was afraid that one day she couldn't hold on anymore, so she left it for Guogua. Now that Cho Yun took out the money, it was obvious that she trusted Su Yun, Wan Qingshuang, and others very much. Cho Yun's 4.5 million, Su Yun and Wan Qingshuang's 1.23 million and Qin Wan's 300,000 to buy the car, the total was 6.03 million. It was only 2 million away from the goal of 8 million. Su Yun was confident that he could pay off the 2 million in a month, so he didn't hesitate to use the card to overdraft. Dad, don't worry. I promise to pay you back in a month. Guogua was not joking. She could see that Su Yun didn't want to use the card. Now the Guogua group is officially established. The 8 million is contributed by everyone, so everyone has shares. Qin Wan was stunned. Shares? Guogua, I only contributed 300,000. Do you still have shares? If the company is divided into 100 shares, 80,000 shares. Sister Wan your investment will take up nearly 4% of the shares. Guogua counted with her fingers. But today is different. I am a generous person. I approve you to hold 15% of the shares of the Guogua group. This investment was really worth it. Qin Wan didn't expect to meet the little god of wealth. Fortunately, she didn't use the money that her dad gave her to buy the car. Mom, Guogua loves you the most. I will give you 30% of the shares. Guogua was not stingy at all. Wan Qingshuang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, Guogua and Cho Yun had given the most money, so she was indeed qualified to make the decision. Before the hotel was bought, Guogua had already given out 45% of the shares. She counted with her fingers and said to herself, I'll pay the most. I'm the boss. I want 51% of the shares. Only then will I have the right to speak. Ahem. Su Yun coughed hard. Guogua, aren't you forgetting something? He was the key to solving the problem with an overdraft loan. Guogua was thinking of him when they were short of money. Now that they had enough money, was she going to get rid of him after he had outlived his usefulness? How could they forget about him when they were talking about shares? Dad, Guogua loves you so much. How could I forget you? Didn't I leave you 4%? Guogua clapped her hands. That's settled. Although we are not listed and we don't have real shares, we will share the profits according to this percentage. Do you have any objections? Wan Qingshuang patted Guogua's little head and said softly, We will do as you say. After all, Guogua is the big boss. Qin Wan immediately said, Of course I have no objections. We have agreed that I will get 15%. Of course, I will take such a big advantage. I will get 4%. Su Yun really wanted to hang himself with some noodles. He had put in more money and effort than Qin Wan had put in 15%. My precious daughter, even if I'm not your biological father, you can't cheat me like this, right? I have overdrawn 2 million to help you. Guogua shrugged. Next month's profits will be used to pay back the 2 million. It will be the same as everyone's contribution. So, you can't have any objections. What about the 500,000 reward that the police gave me? Su-yin said pitifully. That is worth at least 6% of the shares. About this problem. Guogwa put her hands on her waist and said, You, me, Mom, Sister Cho-yun, Sister Wanner, the 5 of us have contributed. So, each of us should get 100,000 yuan. Dad, you have given 100,000 yuan. Giving you 4% of the shares is already very high. F***ck. Vomiting blood. What else could Su-yin do besides vomiting blood? That day you were in school. What did this have to do with you? Sigh, Dad, do you want money or Mom? Guogwa suddenly whispered in his ear. Do you want money or do you want to live in the circle of beauties? It was hard to choose. Su-yin was silent. Guogwa proudly raised her eyebrows. Men become bad when they are rich. So Dad, giving you 4% of the shares is already a lot. If we calculate according to the annual profit of 20 million yuan, you will earn 800,000 yuan a year. That's an average of 60,000 yuan a month. Hearing Guogwa's words, Qin Wanner was a little scared. 4% of Su-yun's shares was 800,000 yuan a year? If she got 15%, wouldn't she earn 3 million yuan? What a terrifying number. No objections. It's settled. Guogwa made the final decision. Now that the problem of money and shares had been solved, all that was left was the problem of prestige. For this, Guogwa only needed to give Su-yin a look. Dad, I'll leave the rest to you. Su-yin couldn't help but admire Guogwa's careful thinking. She had such a thought at such a young age. When she grew up, she would be great. Her economic mind was much better than most college students who had studied economics for 4 years. The auction was set for 3 p.m. the next day. Su-yin immediately called Chang and the 3 tigers of Nancheng. He asked them to let everyone in the city know that Ruan Qingshuang of Wenhui District's Medicinal Cuisine House, who was now the leader of Hudong City's underworld, Sister Shuang, was going with the mentality that she must win the Hudong International Hotel. If anyone wanted to compete, they had to think about their own ability first. The 3 tigers of Nancheng originally planned to pool their money and see if they could get this fat piece of meat. Now that they heard Brother Yun say that Sister Shuang wanted it, they would definitely give in immediately. They could compete with anyone but them. Once this news spread out, it would be like an endless torrential river. Tomorrow was the day of the auction. Everyone who wanted the hotel was eyeing it covetously. They were also asking each other if anyone had any ideas, so that they could estimate their own ability. Therefore, it was easy for Chang and the 3 tigers of Nancheng to complete the mission. When the news spread, it would definitely shock the Hudong City circle. Everyone who wanted to get the biggest hotel in Hudong City withered. Even if they had money, they wouldn't dare to compete with Sister Shuang. After all, they had something to do with the downfall of the hotel's original owner, Lu Sheng. They were also the ones who destroyed Jin Biao's family. No one dared to challenge the authority, and no one dared to snatch the meat from the tiger's mouth. Now the Hudong International Hotel was basically in Guogwa's pocket. She had already decided that the first thing she would do after she got the hotel was to change its name. The name was too disgusting and rustic. It was just like her school. She had to add an international name. It was a small city with a population of 5 million. She might as well call it the Hudong International Hotel. It sounded better. The news that Sister Shuang wanted this fat piece of meat quickly spread to every corner of Hudong City. That night, everyone at the dinner table was talking about the news. Chang and the 3 tigers of Nancheng had successfully completed their mission. Since they knew that Sister Shuang and Brother Yin were determined to get it done, they immediately started paving the way for them. Such a big hotel would need hundreds of employees. They had already started looking for suitable managers. That night, Guogwa slept soundly. Even in her dreams, she shouted keywords like 8 million and big hotel. It was obvious that she was determined to win the auction. Ruan Qingshuang looked at Guogwa, who was sleeping soundly. She was really shocked when she saw how much money Guogwa had taken out at Cho-yun. She had never thought that Guogwa was the princess of a rich family. Thinking of this, Ruan Qingshuang felt a lump in her throat. She couldn't believe that Guogwa had endured so many grievances with her. There were a few times when Ruan Qingshuang, who was alone, almost couldn't hold on. She even felt that life was far easier than death. Almost every time, she persevered with amazing perseverance. Because every time she was about to be defeated by life, she would firmly tell herself that as long as she was alive, good things would definitely happen. Ruan Qingshuang always felt that the goddess of luck favored her. The day before she found Guogua, the rogue LV Bao took away all her remaining savings. If it weren't for Guogua, perhaps Ruan Qingshuang would have completely given up the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Although Guogua gave her the motivation to persevere, the harassment from the Four Wolves gang almost made her want to give up. This time, she and Guogua met Su Yun. Life always had ups and downs. Just like the four seasons, there were always changes of flowers blooming and withering. Just like the weather was sunny, and thunder and lightning. Almost nothing in the world could stay the same. The next day, Guogua woke up early and woke everyone up to buy clothes. She called Chong to be their driver. At least Chong was now driving an Audi A6. Although it was not a prestigious car, at least it was not shameful. Today, she had to hold up her face. Of course, Guogua had to dress up well. Of course, she didn't only dress up herself, but also dressed up Mrs. Ruan and sister Cho Yun. As for Qin Wan as a policewoman, she was responsible for the security of the scene. Of course, she had to wear a uniform. Cho Yun was dressed up as usual by Guogua. She was dressed in tight and domineering clothes. Her exquisite curves could amaze people to death. Her frosty temperament could definitely make the birds fall and the geese fall. For Ruan Qingshuang, Guogua chose a particularly elegant dress. The effect of the dress on the upper body was definitely not covered. It simply set off Ruan Qingshuang like a beautiful goddess. Of course, she was not careless. From head to toe, she was dressed like a little princess. Guogua's requirements for Su Yun were, of course, very strict. Even if Su Yun forced her to refuse, she still asked him to dress up methodically. A white-gray checkered shirt with a blue cowboy bow tie, and straight black casual pants showed his legs. In the end, she also changed Su Yun's beloved pair of flip-flops. Although the leather shoes were not handmade in Italy, they were still more than 1,000 yuan. After 2 hours, Guogua settled everyone. She spent more than 8,000 yuan, all of which were paid by Chong. Guogua's reason was very simple. Her money was to buy a hotel. She couldn't spend it recklessly. Chapter 118. Su Yun's tall, rich, and handsome appearance really made people's eyes light up. Chong couldn't help but sigh. Clothes really make the man. Wasn't my previous outfit handsome? Su Yun said unhappily. He felt uncomfortable wearing it. I haven't worn this kind of clothes since I was young. It's so uncomfortable. Guogua shook her head helplessly. However, she definitely wouldn't allow Su Yun to wear slippers and a skeleton vest today. That would be too embarrassing for her, her mother, and Cho Yun. In the end, Su Yun and Guogua reached an agreement. Su Yun could wear this outfit, but he definitely couldn't wear a bow tie. Guogua also agreed, but she requested that Su Yun's top 3 buttons be undone. That way he would look more arrogant. In the end, Su Yun was dressed up by Guogua to look like a frivolous and unrestrained hedonistic young master. Obviously, it would be more appropriate to put him next to Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun. If it weren't for this hotel, Su Yun wouldn't wear such a tight outfit. Damn, with this pair of pants, if he were to fight, he would be able to tear his pants apart. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the 4 of them were punctually driven to the venue by Chong. The auction venue was the large conference hall of the Hudong Hotel. There were 30 rows of tables and chairs inside, which could accommodate 500 to 600 people. This lineup was really not small. When the 4 of them got out of the car, they saw Qin Wan. Qin Wan had already reserved seats and numbers for them, so the treatment was naturally extraordinary. When the beautiful trio led by Su Yun entered the venue, it immediately caused an uproar. A handsome man and a beautiful woman paired with the princess like Guogua definitely attracted everyone's attention. Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun. One was noble and unparalleled, and the other was cold and elegant. Naturally, they became the focus of everyone's eyes. After all, there weren't many women at the auction, so Su Yun didn't attract much attention. After all, Su Yun was a low-key young man. Chou Yun and Feng Qiansui had long been accustomed to this kind of scene, but Ruan Qingshuang had never experienced this kind of soul-stirring scene. Under so many pairs of eyes, she felt somewhat uncomfortable. Guogua didn't care that her limelight had been stolen. She was confident that she would be even more peerless in 10 years. There are so many people. Ruan Qingshuang approached Su Yun uncomfortably. She felt more secure only when she was beside Su Yun. Su Yun nodded. Looks like today's event is bigger than I thought. Originally, Su Yun thought that since the Three Tigers of Southern City had released the news, a considerable number of people would give up coming to the auction. However, what he didn't expect was that Lu Sheng's villa was also a very popular place, and the feng shui of that place in the eastern suburbs was definitely the best place in Hedong. Since ancient times, Huaxia had always been the best place in the east. In addition, there was another reason. Although almost everyone who was optimistic about this hotel had given up, many people who hadn't seen Ruan Qingshuang and Su Yun wanted to see them. This was also one of the reasons why the auction was so popular. Some of the local tyrants who had some status in Hedong had already begun to whisper that the two girls were classics. As for Su Yun, of course, they didn't have a good impression of him. Regardless of whether they said it or not, they all had the same idea. It was really a case of good cabbages being eaten by pigs. It wasn't that Su Yun couldn't tell what these bastards were thinking, but he was too lazy to argue with them. They could think whatever they wanted. Finally, the Three Tigers of Southern City saw Su Yun and Ruan Qingshuang in the corner of the venue. They hurried over to greet them. Sister Shuang, Brother Yun, you're here. Although the voice wasn't loud, it was enough for people to hear. Moreover, the speed at which the message spread was no slower than the speed at which it was forwarded on Weibo. In an instant, the whole place was in an uproar. This made Ruan Qingshuang even more uncomfortable. She wasn't used to being the center of attention, and now she was the center of everyone's discussion. She couldn't get used to it at all. Mom, you're so famous, Guogua said with a smile. Then she sighed. Sigh, it seems that Sister Guogua's reputation hasn't spread yet. Now, with Ruan Qingshuang's prestige in Hedong City, everyone knew about her. The Three Tigers of Southern City's reclaimed forces were all under Sister Shuang's name. Under the lead of the Three Tigers of Southern City, the four people who shocked the whole place came to the seats that Qin Wanner had reserved for them. The four of them sat down, and the whole place quieted down. Some people around Ruan Qingshuang didn't even dare to breathe loudly. After all, the person in front of them was the #1 person in Hedong City's underworld. However, the silence only lasted for less than half a minute. What followed was the sound of people whispering. Ruan Qingshuang couldn't hear what they were saying. These people didn't dare to speak loudly, for fear of disturbing Ruan Qingshuang. Achoo! Achoo! Su Yun's nose itched, and he sneezed twice in a row. This time the whole place quieted down again. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. It showed how powerful and domineering Su Yun was in everyone's eyes. *T. Su Yun rubbed his nose. 1 thought, 2 scolded, and 3 worried. I sneezed twice. Who scolded me? Although Su Yun was talking to himself casually, everyone was so nervous that they held their breaths. The gazes of the Three Tigers of the Southern City looked around. This time, the faces of those who were jealous of Su Yun earlier turned green, as if they were afraid of being seen through. They didn't even have the courage to look at the Three Tigers of the Southern City. Brother Yin, no one here dares to scold you. Dan Hongning smiled bitterly. That's hard to say. Su Yun's sixth sense told him that there was an unfriendly gaze staring at him. However, because of his identity, he didn't ask who would secretly stare at him. While they were talking, the auctioneer appeared. He was a middle-level leader of the government's state-owned assets department. He didn't need to say any polite words to quiet down, because the place was already very quiet. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, everyone is here for the same purpose. I won't say any more nonsense. The following things will be handed over to the auctioneer. You just need to be ready to raise your cards. The auctioneer walked to the stage after the leader's speech and smiled politely. Today's auction is very special. Everyone is very clear about it, so I don't need to introduce it. Now let's talk about the first auction item. This is a two-story villa with more than 600 square meters. It is located in the villa area in the eastern suburbs of Hudong City. I think everyone knows that place. Maybe there are some owners living there. It was very quiet. Soo-yun looked around. Almost everyone present was a member of society. It was impossible for a corrupt official from the government's work department to come here. This also confirmed his confidence that he could win the hotel with 8,010,000 yuan. Let's cut to the chase. Everyone knows the value of this villa. The starting price is 1 million yuan, and the increment is 10,000 yuan. The auctioneer smiled. Now the auction officially begins. As soon as the auctioneer finished speaking, the whole place was silent. It seemed that everyone's eyes were focused on Ruan Qingshuang, waiting for her to make a bid. If it weren't for the fact that he was tight on money, Soo-yun would have shouted, "Forget it, for the sake of the hotel, I'll bear with it. After all, if I buy the hotel, everyone can stay in the private rooms on the top floor. There's no need to buy a villa at all." Finally, someone confirmed that Ruan Qingshuang didn't have any intention to buy the villa, and shouted the first bid. 2 million. The auctioneer pointed. Number 37 bids 2 million. Is there anyone else who wants it? With the first person's lead, the whole place was instantly stirred up. 5 million, 2 million, 1 million, 6 million. Although the increment was 10,000 yuan, the price of the villa was originally very low, so most of the bids were increments of 100,000, 200,000, or even 500,000 yuan. The starting price of the villa quickly rose to 5 million yuan. At this time, the main event had just begun. The people who bid later were the buyers who were determined to get the villa. 6 million. This time, the price was raised by 1 million yuan. It was really ruthless. 8 million. There were really many rich people in Hudong City. 10 million. Wow, what kind of boldness was this? It directly rose to 8 digits. The price of 10 million yuan stunned everyone. The auctioneer smiled faintly. 10 million. Number 50 SIX's friend has bid 10 million yuan. Is there anyone else who wants it? The person who bid 10 million yuan was not an outsider. It was Lu Feng, one of the 3 tigers of Nancheng. He was the richest among the 3 of them, and had been in the construction industry for many years. He knew that the villa in that location was now worth at least 15 million yuan. Even if he sold it, he could still make 5 million yuan. Anyway, Lu Feng was sure that Sister Shuang and Brother Yun weren't interested, so he boldly bid. When the crowd saw that it was Lu Feng, who was sitting next to Ruan Qingshuang and Soo-yun, who bid, they all thought about it and didn't know if they should bid. 10 million yuan going once. The auctioneer tried his best to liven up the atmosphere. This is a villa area with an excellent location and excellent feng shui. You're buying at this price, and you can rest assured that you'll make a profit if you buy it. Guoguo rolled her eyes. F***ck. This guy is a TV direct seller, isn't he? Lu Feng was very confident. No one would spend 10 million yuan and offend a popular person like him. Just when everyone was ready to watch LV Feng earn a bargain, a girl's clear and melodious voice rang out. 20 million. Shock. Even Soo-yun and Cho-yun, 2 people with high mental fortitude, couldn't help but be shocked. Lu Feng almost fainted. He looked in the direction of the voice. Because there were too many people, he couldn't see clearly. He could only conclude that it was a girl in her 20s. Everyone looked over and discussed who this girl was. It was as if they had never seen her before. Buyer number 165, 20 million going once. The auctioneer was overjoyed. This kind of person was what they liked. Of course, no one would bid again at this price. They wouldn't be able to make a bargain if they increased the price further. 20 million going twice. The auctioneer had already raised his hammer. Going thrice. Sold. Congratulations to buyer number 165 for winning the villa in the eastern suburbs. She was truly a heroic-spirited woman. She had shocked the entire place. Compared to Ruan Qingshuang and Soo-yun, her limelight was even greater. Soo-yun smiled and looked at Lu Feng. What's the background of that girl? She even dares to snatch the house that you like? Hee, she's not simple. It seems that there are many powerful people in Hudong City. Chapter 119. Guagua stood up to take a closer look. It seemed like she was the only one who could see the girl's face clearly. Even Guagua could not help but praise. That sister has such a luxurious temperament. No wonder she's so generous. Beautiful girls are different. Luxurious temperament? It was the first time Su Yin had heard such a high level of praise. He really admired Guagua's ability to express herself. Sit down. Our target is coming. Guagua stuck out her tongue. Dad, you're not interested in beautiful girls? That's not your style. That sister is really beautiful, and her temperament is second only to me. Su Yin smiled helplessly. You're really my goddaughter. How confident you are. Dad, you really don't want to look. Don't regret it, Guagua said and sat down. Su Yin really wasn't in the mood to look. Lu Feng had prepared 10 million yuan for this villa, and along the way he had also prepared 8.03 million yuan for this hotel. Who knew what unforeseen events would happen? The auctioneer was very proud of the high price. He became even more excited. The next item for auction, I don't need to say any more. It's where we are now. Hudong City International Hotel. This is a landmark in Hudong City. Everyone here knows the value of the hotel better than I do. But the starting price is only 8 million. Everyone, are you ready? There was no reaction. No one looked at the auctioneer. They were all looking at Ruan Qingshuang. Last night, almost everyone in Hudong City knew that Ruan Qingshuang was determined to win. Who would dare to compete with her? The starting price is 8 million. The minimum increment is still 10,000. Haha, but I don't think anyone will do that, right? The auctioneer said with a smile. He raised his hands. The bidding starts. Guagua stood up as fast as lightning and held up the number 1 bidding card in her hand. My mother bids 8.01 million. Everyone's attention was attracted by Guagua's childish voice, but what attracted them even more was the number 1 bidding card. Everyone present knew that the number 1 bidding card belonged to Ruan Qingshuang. The auctioneer was also shocked by the silence. There was really someone who increased the bid by 10,000. He was about to collapse. However, after 8.01 million, no one called out another bid, which made the auctioneer even more speechless. Number 1 bid 8.01 million. Hee, little kid is really interesting. The auctioneer smiled. There was no way they would sell at this price. Even the land in this place was worth more than this. He looked at the crowd and said, Please continue to raise your paddles. However, what surprised him was that no one actually opened their mouths to bid again. He had been looking forward to breaking the 10 million mark, but the entire crowd went silent. Haha, everyone, you may continue to raise your paddles. The auctioneer suspected that everyone was deaf. Guagua was a little impatient. Hey, no one has spoken for so long. Shouldn't you shout 1, 2, 3 times and sold already? Some of the government officials present frowned, including Chen Wei. He really did not expect Ruan Qingshuang and Su Yin to be so powerful in Hudong City. No one dared to compete with them. Chen Wei had investigated Ruan Qingshuang for a while, but he did not find anything wrong with her. Now, it seemed that she was hiding her true colors. It was really necessary to contact the 2 experts sent by the higher-ups to investigate. At this time, Chen Wei did not know that the 2 experts were already far away from Hudong City and had driven back to Yanjing to report on their work. People who came out of Dragon's Fury did not need to say goodbye to him. Moreover, Azure Dragon Qianfeng was still drunk that day, and Yin Long and Fan Shuanger would not bring him along to embarrass themselves. In the back row of the auction, the girl who had been praised by Guagua for her luxurious temperament frowned. She didn't understand why the auction had turned out like this. She had thought that the price of this hotel would soon reach 30 million and above. When that time came, she would definitely be able to shock the crowd by shouting 50 million. She was prepared to take it down with 100 million, but she did not expect that no one would raise the price after a child called out 8 million and 10,000. The girl's lips curled into a faint smile. This was an interesting auction. She decided to play along with the little girl. 8 million and 10,000 going once. The auctioneer did not want to continue. What was going on? This was ridiculous. This hotel was worth at least 10 times more than the starting price. Guagua looked at Ruan Qingshuang and Cho Yun proudly. Although Qin Wan who was standing at the entrance of the auction, was prepared, she was still shocked by the reality. Sister Shuang's prestige was like that of a god. Guoguo's auction plan seemed to be going very smoothly. Just as everyone was waiting for the final call to end the auction, the clear voice of an oriole rang out again. 8,020,000. The originally silent auction hall was suddenly filled with an impulse. Everyone's eyes turned to the girl who took the villa from Lu Feng for 20 million. But no one would have guessed that the girl only increased the price by 10,000. Guogua stood up and glared at her. Humph! The goddess that she had just praised as beautiful and elegant suddenly became an ugly old witch in her eyes. The auctioneer did not know whether to laugh or cry. What kind of farce was this? What were these people trying to do? This was a serious auction, not a child's play. 8,030,000. Guogua's enthusiasm was directly aroused. This was all they had brought this time. Suyin did not know whether to laugh or cry. If he increased the price again, he would have to borrow money from Chang and the three tigers of Southern City. How embarrassing would that be? No wonder he had always had a bad premonition. This thing really came true. Halfway through, there was finally a Cheng Yao Jin, which really made him feel helpless. 8,040,000. The luxurious girl played it down. Guogua gnashed her teeth in hatred. Even if this princess had to sell everything she had and borrow money from everywhere, she would still beat you. She put her hands on her waist and shouted, 8,050,000. This farce actually continued. The two of them were like two angry children, each shouting 10,000. In 10 minutes, after shouting more than 20 times, the price of the hotel rose to 8,500,000. However, no one at the scene felt bored and left. Everyone wanted to see the final result and how Sister Shuang would deal with it. They wanted to see what kind of person this Cheng Yao Jin, who came out of nowhere, was. The boring bidding made the auctioneer completely speechless. He really did not understand why the officials did not directly raise the price to 1 million. That way it would not be like this. Everyone else looked at it stupidly, which made him feel even more depressed. Finally, the luxurious girl was too lazy to continue playing with Guogua. She smiled slightly and raised her paddle. 30 million. Hua. The scene was silent. The auctioneer's eyes lit up. This was more like it. It seemed that the real bidding had just begun. Chen Wei and a few people from the government finally showed a smile. Phew, if it really sold for more than 8 million, then they would really have something to cry about. They would definitely be scolded to death by the new municipal party secretary. It's over. A thought flashed in Su Yun's mind. They had no chance of winning this hotel. Wan Qingshuang did not care. She did not think that she could get such a big bargain. It did not matter if she could not buy it. Her medicinal cuisine restaurant was quite good, and the monthly income was very good. There was no need to make such a big deal. Cho Yun sighed. Guogua's farce should end. Qin Wan was somewhat disappointed at the entrance of the venue. She could have become a shareholder here, but now she was afraid that her dream was gone. If she had known, she would not have told Guogua about the auction. In this world, the greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. The other party suddenly shouted 30 million, and directly prepared to overwhelm Guogua, with an overwhelming advantage. However, Guogua was not a master to be trifled with. She had been with Feng Qiansui since she was young and had seen many things. What had Guogua not seen before? 30 million wanted to overwhelm her? Humph, in your dreams. 50 million. Guogua glared and said in high spirits. She did not care that she did not have the money in her pocket. Humph, you want to play with this princess? You are still too early. Even if this princess does not have the money to buy it, I will raise the price and make you feel uncomfortable. Wan Qingshuang and Cho Yun were stunned. 50 million. Su Yun almost vomited blood. You really dare to shout? Where are you going to get so much money? This girl probably wants him to rob a bank. However, the luxurious beauty was not moved at all. She still said in a light tone, 80 million. When she heard the other party's bid, Wan Qingshuang was relieved. If the deal was made just now, she could not take out 50 million even if she was beaten to death. It was simply a fantasy. Guogua knew that she had really met a rich person. However, her impulse made her unable to control her competitive heart. Guogua gritted her teeth and shouted out a 9-digit number that shocked Wan Qingshuang to death. 100 million. The audience was silent again. The luxurious beauty in the back row frowned. It seemed that the opponent she met was not playing house. They were really capable. If this continued, she would not have enough money on her. Hee. It seemed that she would not be able to buy this hotel. You win. The luxurious beauty put down the number in her hand and smiled at Guogua. In Guogua's eyes, this smile was gloating. This time, it was over. Guogua lowered her head and looked at Su Yun and Wan Qingshuang. Her face was full of the pitiful expression of a child who had done something wrong. F***ck. Su Yun was completely defeated. Do you think that I will forgive you if you make this expression? This was not as simple as you breaking someone's glass. This is even more serious than you kicking the family jewels of the grandson of the neighbor's family. 100 million. Even robbing a bank might not be able to get that much money. Su Yun completely collapsed. Wan Qingshuang almost fainted. Guogua saw that her pleas were useless and could only look at Cho Yun. Cho Yun's face was expressionless. Guogua had fooled the government. This was not a joke. If things went wrong, they might even commit a crime. Although Guogua would definitely be fine because of her young age, the adults would not be able to get away with it. Chapter 120. Guogua looked at Su Yun helplessly. She was afraid that she could only count on her father now. Su Yun smiled bitterly. My dear ancestor, if this was a private auction, I would not want it in the end. At most, I would pay some money or threaten to settle it privately. But this is an official auction. If you don't buy it, aren't you playing with the public? Wan Qingshuang had begun to think about how to explain. Cho Yun rubbed her temples and her face became a little embarrassed. 200 million. Just when Su Yun, Wan Qingshuang and others were at their wits' end, a hoarse voice with a strong breath shouted out a sky-high price. This was the most terrifying buyer of the day. 200 million. How generous was he? Cho Yun trembled all over as if she had been electrocuted. Guogua also frowned. This voice was so familiar. Of course, all this did not escape Su Yun's eyes. Just by looking at Cho Yun's panicked look and feeling the strong momentum of that person, it was enough to show that this person did not come with good intentions. Su Yun turned around slightly, and his face began to change slightly. He had hawk eyes, brown hair, a blue face, a high nose bone, and a little mixed-race facial features. His strong body of more than 1.8 meters was very eye-catching. This person did not avoid Su Yun's eyes. Suddenly, he slowly raised his left hand, flattened his 5 fingers across his throat, and made a gesture of cutting off his head. His gloomy smile made everyone present feel uneasy. Su Yun had already seen the ghost tattoo on his forehead. Seeing this bastard making a gesture of cutting off his head to Su Yun, how could the 3 tigers of Nanqing be willing? They slapped the table and stood up. Kong Zhong took the lead and scolded. Who do you think you are? How dare you challenge Brother Yin? As soon as he finished scolding, Lu Feng and Dan Hongning were about to step forward. Even though there were quite a number of police officers here, this group of hooligans who had never been angered before were unable to control the anger in their hearts. The 3 tigers of Nanqing were very clear that today, this person had humiliated Brother Yin in front of so many people. If they didn't get back at him, Brother Yun's prestige in Hudong would inevitably be seriously damaged. Stop. Su Yun whispered, stopping the southern city 3 tigers from courting death. Even Cho Yun didn't dare to look him in the eye. How could they afford to offend him? Su Yun sneered in his heart and said to himself, I knew you would come, but I didn't expect you to come so early, Green Ghost. When Su Yun narrowed his eyes cautiously, his body began to emit a faint aura. There were too many ordinary people here. If Green Ghost acted rashly, he couldn't care less about hiding his strength. Even if everyone present was shocked to death, he couldn't just watch Green Ghost kill the innocent. However, Green Ghost had no intention of making a move. He smiled and said to the auctioneer, It's time to drop the hammer, right? 200 million. Sold. Just when Cho Yun was ready to fight to the death and turned around, she couldn't see Green Ghost's shadow anymore. Where is he? Cho Yun frowned, and her face was full of murderous intent. Su Yun frowned and said, if he doesn't want to make a move here, then we don't have to fight him here. After all, there are too many innocent people here. Take Guogua back and be careful. The auction ended, but the crowd didn't disperse. They were all waiting for Sister Shuang and the others to leave first. Qin Wan'er didn't feel as disappointed as before. This place was bought by someone for 200 million. It was a number she didn't even dare to think about. Guogua's 8 million plan had failed. Are you that disappointed? Qin Wan'er saw the expressions on Guogua and Cho Yun's faces. She couldn't help but be shocked. Even Su Yun's expression looked bad. Only Ruan Qingxuang was able to accept it. Guogua realized the severity of the situation from Cho Yun's expression. It seemed that the person who had bid 200 million was the person who had caused the Feng family to lose their foothold in Suang. The three of them weren't depressed because they didn't get the hotel. It was because of the person who had suddenly appeared. How dangerous was Green Ghost? It wasn't something that could be explained in a few sentences. Cho Yun had fought him before. She had experienced it firsthand. She couldn't withstand a single blow from Green Ghost even if she used her full strength. That was when Green Ghost hadn't used his full strength. Green Ghost's 7 death palms was definitely a martial art that could break people's hearts. Ruan Qingxuang wasn't affected at all. She didn't think that the hotel was theirs to begin with. She didn't even know who the person who had bid 200 million was. Guogua, okay. Tell Mom what you want to eat. Mom will take you to buy it. Ruan Qingxuang comforted Guogua. Guogua shook her head and forced a smile. Mom, let's go home. Oh. Guogua doesn't have an appetite right now. I don't want to eat anything. Qin Wan'er went forward and patted Guogua's head. Don't be so listless. Cheer up. It's just a hotel. We'll have more chances in the future. Su Yun went forward and pulled Qin Wan'er to the side. You better stay away from the buyer. He's not a simple person. Qin Wan'er was startled when she heard this. Endless doubts arose in her heart. The more Su Yun said this, the more curious she became. Qin Wan'er, don't think that I'm joking with you, Su Yun said in a low voice. If anything happens later, you better not get involved. When Red Scorpion reported what had happened in Hudong City to Green Ghost did have the urge to kill. He understood why Red Scorpion didn't come back, but such a person was a traitor to him. Even if Red Scorpion was his #1 warrior, he still had to kill him. Green Ghost, who had just stabilized his foundation in Suang, didn't think that Red Scorpion couldn't even do such a small thing. Originally, he didn't plan to come personally, but after thinking about it, he decided to come personally. Originally, Green Ghost thought that Red Scorpion was under a team, just like the people who were chasing him in Suang. He didn't think that Red Scorpion would lose to a helper that Cho Yun had found. Green Ghost didn't believe it. So what if there were 2 first-rate experts? After all, Cho Yun had been seriously injured by him. Even if she wasn't dead, she was probably just a piece of trash. In this kind of situation, there was no need for him to do anything. Because all the major powers in Suang were surging, Green Ghost couldn't get away. The reason why he rushed to Hudong City in the middle of the night was to see if there was someone who really gave him a headache. Now that Green Ghost had seen it, he was relieved. Those people he was worried about weren't there. Maybe Red Scorpion said that he failed because he didn't try his best. Since it was like this, Green Ghost decided to leave quickly. Suang couldn't be without him. Although Green Ghost had left Hudong City, he had left behind 3 masters. He also said that whoever killed the man beside Cho Yun could replace Red Scorpion and take the position of the #1 expert under Green Ghost. Originally, the competition for the #1 expert under Green Ghost was fierce. This was a position that was second only to one person, and above tens of thousands. Now that Red Scorpion had given the 3 of them a chance, they obviously had to grab it. After walking out of the international hotel, Su Yun asked Chang to send Ruan Qingxuang, Cho Yun and Guogua home. He was still a bit worried about Qin Wan'er. After all, Green Ghost's appearance made him use 200% of his energy. Green Ghost could also use Qin Wan'er as a breakthrough point, and use this to declare war on them. After all, Qin Wan'er was innocent. Su Yun didn't want anything to happen to her. He was able to let Cho Yun and Guogua leave, because he was sure that Green Ghost wouldn't attack openly. If he wanted to do that, he probably would have done it earlier. If Green Ghost really did attack, apart from Su Yun, no one else would be spared. The fact that Green Ghost didn't attack meant that he still had some scruples. He wasn't crazy enough to not fear any power. The chaos in Su Hong's underground world had already made Green Ghost be targeted by the relevant departments. Perhaps he didn't want to attract attention elsewhere. If the relevant departments in Huaxia had evidence, it wouldn't be hard to deal with him. Su Yun wanted to give Green Ghost a heavy blow before he attacked. He wanted to let him know that Hudong City wasn't as simple as he thought. However, at this time, Green Ghost's figure couldn't be found in the entire auction. After about half an hour, Su Yun saw the busy Qinwan. What happened? The person who bought the hotel just now was just messing things up. Qinwaner was furious. He was quite confident when he shouted 200 million, but now he can't even be found. Shit. Su Yun froze. Could it be that he made a mistake? If Green Ghost had already intercepted Guogua and Cho Yun halfway, then things would be troublesome. I'll go back first. If there's any news about that person, let me know immediately. Su Yun turned and left. He could only pray that Chang had already brought them back to the medicinal cuisine restaurant, and that Green Ghost hadn't done anything to them yet. Su Yun was just about to rush back to the restaurant when a graceful figure blocked his way. Why are you in such a hurry? Su Yun was startled by the crisp voice of an Oriole. He raised his head and saw that the person in front of him was indeed the one who had bought the villa for 20 million, and forced Guogua to raise the price of the hotel to 100 million. What Guogua said was indeed correct. The temperament of this top-grade beauty in front of him was really indescribable. Her cool spaghetti strap dress revealed her smooth pearl-like shoulders. Her voluptuous silhouette was faintly discernible, and her slender, snake-like waist was alluring. This figure was really exquisite and graceful. Could it be that this beauty was working for Green Ghost? Su Yun was just about to be suspicious, but he had to dispel his doubts. This beauty definitely didn't have that kind of aura, so she definitely couldn't be working for Green Ghost. After looking at her carefully, Su Yun had more doubts in his heart. Why did he feel that she was somewhat familiar? Could it be someone he had met in a previous mission? But he couldn't remember if he had met a beauty who could hide all her aura. Forget it. Su Yun didn't have the time to play pickup games with some beauty. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. If fate wills it, I'll contact you later. Chapter 121. Su Yun suddenly realized why this beauty looked so familiar. The last time he chased after Jin Biao in the Tuachuo Mountains, he had stolen this girl's bicycle. Su Yun had long forgotten about this, but he didn't expect to meet her again today. Looks like you remember. The other party said indifferently. I thought you were just a bicycle thief, but it looks like I was wrong. You're not as simple as I thought. You can even afford 100 million. You're really not simple. Su Yun smiled bitterly. He couldn't say that Guogua was playing with him, could he? At this time, no one could say for sure. Anyway, the matter was over, and no one could get the land of the hotel. There was no need to explain anything, and he really didn't have time to explain it to her. I'm really not a thief. Please believe me, I'll definitely pay for your bicycle. I'm at the Medicinal Cuisine restaurant in the Wenhui district. You can find me anytime, but I have something urgent to do now. I hope you understand. Su Yun frowned. The beauty in front of Su Yun refused to give in. Something urgent? To the Wenhui district? You're not going to run back, are you? I'll take a taxi. Su Yun was startled. He couldn't say that he could really run faster than taking a taxi, right? The beauty waved her hand. Let's go, I'll send you. You can also pay me back for the bicycle, or I'll take you directly to the police station. Su Yun didn't refuse. Okay, I'll pay you back immediately when I get back. We'll be even then. I hope you can leave quickly. Su Yun didn't want to involve people for no reason. If Green Ghost didn't go to the Medicinal Cuisine restaurant, he would immediately pay for the bicycle. If Green Ghost had already gone, then he probably couldn't care less about her. Humph. The beauty snorted and frowned. This was the first time she met a man who was eager to draw a line with her. She was the 9th daughter of the Tang family. When had she ever been treated so coldly? And the other party was a man. Tang Jiu, who had always been arrogant and confident, felt like she had been slapped in the face by Su Yun. Of course, she wouldn't take it lying down. Now both old and new grudges were added together. Tang Jiu had developed a strong interest in cycling after watching the Tour de France once. Through her friends, she had joined the largest cycling association in the provincial capital, Jibei. The cycling association would go on an excursion every month. Last time, they had chosen the ancient cultural city, Hudong City. Initially, Tang Jiu did not plan to ride a long distance. However, due to some special reasons, he decided to make a trip here. Who would have thought that Tang Jiu would be so unlucky? It was his first time riding a long distance for a day. Just as he was about to go to the hotel with his team to rest, he bumped into a man on the side of the road. That man snatched his car like a lunatic and left. What was even more ridiculous was that the president of the association, who was also the leader of the cycling team, had led a group of cycling experts to chase after them. But they had been left in the dust by who knew how many streets. Tang Jiu was naturally enraged. The ninth daughter of the Tang family in the provincial capital, Jibei City, had her bicycle stolen in a small place like Hudong. However, this time, Tang Jiu did not have the time to lose her temper over such a small matter. 10 minutes after losing her bicycle, she received a call from home. Something had happened to the Tang family. The Tang family was different from other families. The size of the Tang family was unimaginable. Although Tang Jiu was the ninth child of the fourth generation of the Tang family, and was the youngest, her father was the head of the third generation of the Tang family, Tang Jingtian. Tang Jiu was an only child. Therefore, this left a lot of uncertainty for the current head of the Tang family. Firstly, it was because she was a girl. Secondly, it was because she was the youngest. However, no matter what, she was still Tang Jingtian's daughter. Speaking of Tang Jingtian, everyone in the Shanha province who had heard of him would definitely tremble slightly. Therefore, Tang Jiu was naturally a little ancestor that ordinary people could not afford to offend. When she lost her bicycle in Hudong City last time, it was not because she wanted to admit defeat. It was because she really did not have the time to deal with it. She did not expect that when she came to Hudong City to find a suitable place for her father to retire, she would meet the person who had stolen her bicycle again. Based on the people's attitude towards this person at the auction, Tang Jiu quickly concluded that this person was not a simple person in Hudong City. Moreover, he had two stunning beauties by his side. If he was an ordinary person, how could he have such luck? Therefore, Tang Jiu did not say anything at that time. She just observed. After dealing with the matter of the villa, she did not expect to see this person again. Although Tang Jiu was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, she knew what it meant to keep a low profile. Even if she could invest thousands of dollars to buy a luxury car, and was even prepared to spend hundreds of millions on fixed assets, she did not drive a particularly extravagant car. Instead, she drove a gray Audi that cost less than $400,000. It was so low profile that no one would notice it. It was obvious that Tang Jiu's principle of keeping a low profile when she went out alone was the truth. Su Yun. In the car, Tang Jiu's voice was somewhat provocative. Right? I want to see what kind of urgent matter you have. Su Yun smiled slightly. How do you know my name? Just now, everyone in the auction was talking about you. Tang Jiu continued. It seems that Hudong City is your world. No one dares to raise their paddles for the things that your little sister bids for. Little sister? He didn't know if Guogua would like this title if she knew. She definitely would not like it. After all, Guogua definitely did not like this person. Then what's your name? Su Yun changed the topic. Tang Jiu. Su Yun smiled slightly. That's an interesting name. Don't tell me you're the ninth child? Tang Jiu nodded and said while driving. Why do you care? So what if I am? I'm the ninth child. I didn't expect your parents to be so good at giving birth. Su Yun sighed. Even the country's family planning was dragged down by a family like yours. You misunderstood. I'm the only child of my parents. The rest of my brothers and sisters are all cousins, Tang Jiu explained. Su Yun nodded. Her family had a strong sense of family values. This was definitely not something that a child from an ordinary family would have. In addition, Tang Jiu was so generous. It was enough to prove that the Tang family was not a small family. Although Tang Jiu kept talking, her driving speed was not slow. Although it was not considered as fast as lightning, it was definitely not slower than any other car on the road. Suyin didn't know if Qiangzi had taken a detour on the way. When Suyin arrived at the medicinal cuisine restaurant, his Audi A6 stopped at the door unhurriedly. When Suyin got out of the car, Tang Jiu opened the door and walked out. This guy kept saying that he had something urgent. She wanted to see what it was. However, no matter how urgent it was, she was going to get the money for the bicycle today. Changzi was dumbfounded when he stopped the car. F***ck. Big Brother Yin was really a man on the outside. He had managed to bring back such a top-notch beauty without a sound. His luck with women was really impressive. Tang Jiu stood beside the car, not caring about other people's gazes. When Guogua got out of the car, she almost jumped up. Dad, why did you bring this witch back? Tang Jiu frowned when she heard that. Dad. Damn. Because Suyin looked at most 25 or 26 years old. How did such a big child suddenly appear? Unmarried child? Pay. It was a slip of the tongue. Unmarried child? Isn't this too fashionable? Old witch. What are you doing here? Guogua was aggressive. No matter how Ruan Qingshuang pulled her back, she could not stop her. She could only ask Chou Yun for help. Chou Yun could not detect any killing intent from Tang Jiu, so she did not pay much attention to it. She quickly focused all her attention on the surroundings, afraid that green ghosts would suddenly appear. Little brat, what did you call me? Tang Jiu was not someone to be trifled with. She frowned. I'm as beautiful as a fairy. How dare you call me a witch? Do you want me to seal your mouth shut? Guogua was unwilling. Old witch. How dare you call me a little brat? Who do you think I am? Let me tell you, when I grow up, my beauty will be miles ahead of yours. My figure too. No. How can I compare to an ugly witch like you? Tang Jiu's mouth twitched a few times. She had lived for 21 years, and no one had dared to speak to her like that. How dare he call her an ugly witch? Many people in the northern meadows worshipped her like a goddess. Many people secretly called her the beauty of the Shanha province. Today, a little brat actually said that he would be prettier than her in the future. Little brat, do you think it's that easy to be pretty? Let me tell you, you'd better go through the 18 stages of womanhood. Even if you look cute now, you might become an ugly duckling in the future. Tang Jiu sneered. Not to mention, you're not cute at all. Guogua broke down. How dare someone say that she was not cute? She had been loved by everyone in Suang since she was young. Flowers bloomed when they saw her, and tires burst when they saw her. How dare someone say that she was not cute? Sparks flew between their gazes. Su Yin was speechless. Damn, this Tang Jiu is really invincible. She can't even get along with a 7-year-old child. Guogua was the same. Why did she have to compete with someone so much older than her for looks and figure? Damn, you haven't even developed yet. What will happen when you do? Ruan Qingshuang looked at Guogua, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Sigh, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. But after all, neither of them had managed to take down the hotel. There was no need for them to fight to the death, right? All right, let's talk inside, Ruan Qingshuang said. Guogua was unhappy that she didn't manage to take advantage of Tang Jiu. She noticed that Chang was staring at her in a daze, so she kicked him angrily. What are you looking at? Be careful that the witch doesn't gouge your eyes out. Chang's face turned red and white. He scratched his head in embarrassment. Although Sister Shuang and Chou Yun were both beautiful women, they didn't have the charm that this girl had. It was a feeling that men couldn't resist. Tang Jiu was very proud. She purposely wiggled her fully developed body in front of Guogua and walked into the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Su Yin almost had a nosebleed. She was a demon. Guogua regretted that she wasn't born 10 years earlier. Then she wouldn't have had the chance to be so arrogant. Chapter 122. Dan Jiahao, who was originally very excited, couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Tangjiu. This woman was indeed very charming. However, the woman's attraction to Dan Jiahao was far less than Brother Yun's peerless martial arts. After regaining his senses, Dan Jiahao hurriedly went forward and said, "Brother Yun, how is it? Did you get the hotel?" Su Yun shook his head. F***CK. Who dares to mess up Brother Yun's plan? I'm going to kill him. Dan Jiahao clenched his fist and said angrily. Me. Tang Jiu said confidently. What do you want? Dan Jiahao's heroic spirit instantly dissipated. Of course, he couldn't do anything to such a beauty. But why did Brother Yun bring this woman who messed up the plan back to the medicinal cuisine house? Did he want to punish her? Guoguo coldly snorted. This witch was really annoying. She actually acted as if she was in the right. Guoguo's plan to buy a hotel with 8,010,000 yuan was completely ruined. How could Guoguo not hate her to the core? Chang Yu, go back. Send Dan Jiahao back on the way. Su Yun said lightly, so that his brother won't say that I'm abusing a minor. Chang nodded and glanced at Dan Jiahao. Kid, let's go. Dan Jiahao was unwilling, but he didn't dare to disobey Su Yun. He was afraid that Su Yun wouldn't accept him as a disciple if he was unhappy. Brother Yun, I'll go back first. Su Yun nodded and didn't say anything. After Chang and Dan Jiahao left, he told Ruan Qingshuang about his relationship with Tang Jiu. Everyone suddenly realized that there was such a thing. Ruan Qingshuang knew it. How could anyone make things difficult for others for no reason? There was such a misunderstanding between her and Su Yun. I'm really sorry about what happened last time, but I remember telling you that you can come and find me. Su Yun was very serious about admitting his mistake. After all, he had destroyed someone else's bicycle. But you didn't come looking for me. How would I know where you are? Tang Jiu was speechless. Hedong City may not be big, but it has at least a few million people, right? I'd rather go fishing for sea cucumbers than look for you, right? Ruan Qingshuang smiled and held Tang Jiu's hand. Miss Jiu, I'm really sorry. Su Yun definitely didn't mean any harm. Since we met today, it proves that we are fated to meet. How much is your car? We'll pay you back. Seeing that Ruan Qingshuang was so gentle, Tang Jiu didn't want to lose his temper again. I don't think you can't afford it, so I won't argue with you. The car is 30,000 yuan, so give me 30,000 yuan. After saying that, Tang Jiu extended his hand to Su Yun. 30,000? The atmosphere in the medicinal cuisine restaurant froze for a moment. Ruan Qingshuang looked at Tang Jiu awkwardly. Her expression was obviously unnatural. 30,000 so much? This car is too expensive. Tang Jiu shrugged his shoulders. This is still okay. Su Yun wanted to cry. 30,000 yuan, damn it. If he knew that the car was so expensive, he wouldn't have snatched it from Jin Biao. 30,000 yuan in one go? Now that Jin Biao was in jail, who could he ask for the money? Damn fatty Jin, he crushed 30,000 yuan in one go. Guoguo couldn't take it anymore. She slammed the table and stood up. 30,000? Why don't you go rob a bank? They'll give you 3 million if you rob a bank. Have you gone crazy thinking about money? Su Yun knew that Tang Jiu, who dared to fork out 20 million yuan to buy a villa, wouldn't care about 20 or 30,000 yuan. The car was definitely worth that much. Do you want the receipt? I usually keep the receipt in the car. I can take it out and show it to you at any time. 31,750 yuan. If I say one more cent, I'll eat all the plates in your restaurant. It seemed that Tang Jiu was serious. I've already given you a discount of more than 1,000 yuan. If you're still not satisfied, then pay me the full price. Ruan Qingshuang swallowed her saliva. She could tell that he wasn't lying. What if we don't give it to you? Guoguo threatened. What can you do? I'm afraid you can't do anything, right? Bite me if you can. Tang Jiu frowned. Little brat, who do you think I am? Let me tell you, there's nothing I can't do in this world. If you don't believe me, you can try. Guoguo put her hands on her waist and snorted. Old witch, you're bragging so much. Why don't you feel embarrassed? There's nothing you can't do in this world. I feel that you can't do what this princess can do. Little brat. Why don't you try? Tang Jiu didn't care about Guoguo at all. Then let's make a bet. Guogua raised her eyebrows. How about it, old witch? Do you dare to make a bet with me? If you can do what I do, then I will concede defeat and return the 31,750 yuan to you, not a cent less. However, if you can't do what I do, then I'll take the money and we'll call it quits. How about it? How could Tang Jiu lose to a little brat? She immediately agreed. Okay. It's a deal. I want to see how I can't do what a little brat like you can do. Don't go back on your word. Don't cry if you lose. Guogua's eyes flashed with a sly light. You have to remember what you just said. Su Yin suddenly felt an ominous premonition. He felt ominous for Tang Jiu. With his sharp sixth sense, Su Yin had already determined that Guogua would definitely win. Tang Jiu was definitely not a match for this little brat who had so many tricks up her sleeve. Wan Qingshuang shook her head helplessly. She really didn't know what the two of them were going to do. Chou Yun didn't want to participate in this kind of boring bet. She directly turned around and went out to check the situation. She definitely wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. The threat of Green Ghost was too big for her. Guogua arrogantly declared war on Tang Jiu. Just you wait. Then she ran upstairs. Tang Jiu looked confidently at Guogua, who ran upstairs. He thought to himself, even if this little brat is playing tricks, it's definitely something that I've played with before. Su Yin finally decided to kindly remind Tang Jiu. Tang Jiu, you better be mentally prepared. It's not that I'm confident in my daughter, but you really aren't a match for her. Your family members are really confident. Tang Jiu said disdainfully. It's just that you chose the wrong opponent. Speaking of which, isn't it a little too early for you to have a child? I'm her godfather. Su Yin smiled bitterly. He didn't even know what a woman felt like after more than 20 years. How could he have a child? Tang Jiu exclaimed. She knows how to have a godfather at such a young age. That's ridiculous. Hey, isn't your taste a little too heavy? She's such a young child. How can you do that? What are you thinking about? Su Yin really wanted to kill himself. I'm really a godfather, not a rotten old man who takes advantage of a young girl. A minute later, Guogua suddenly appeared upstairs. She actually took off her fluffy princess dress and walked down in only a pair of underwear. Her soft skin had a little baby fat, and she looked very cute. Her face was full of pride. Su Yin was stunned. Although he guessed that this little devil's trick would be a wicked one, he didn't expect it to be so wicked. Su Yin laughed in his heart. She's really worthy of being my godfather's daughter. Her brain is really good. Today he saved the 30,000 yuan. Wan Qingshuang blushed. Guogua, what are you doing? Why aren't you wearing any clothes? Aren't you embarrassed? Hurry up and put on your clothes. Guogua walked down with a smug smile. Humph, she wasn't afraid of being taken advantage of. There were only her mother and father in the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Anyway, it wasn't like her mother hadn't seen her when she was bathing. At most, she would let her father take advantage of her. Anyway, she hadn't developed yet, so she wasn't afraid. Tang Jiu's face turned green. She didn't expect this little brat to play such a trick on her. How is it, old witch? Didn't you say that there's nothing you can't do in this world? Guogua was getting more and more arrogant. Can you do what I can do? Can you do the same if I stroll around the hall in so little? Forget it. You don't have to walk so much. You just have to stand here for 3 seconds in this dress, and I'll consider it your win. Tang Jiu clenched her fists. She didn't expect to lose to a little brat. How could she accept this? If she knew this little brat had so many tricks up her sleeve, she wouldn't have made this bet. Su Yin couldn't help but look at Tang Jiu. He couldn't help but imagine Tang Jiu standing where Guogua was wearing this dress. Damn, I can't hold back my nosebleed. This is too crazy. Su Yin would rather take out 30,000 yuan in hopes that Tang Jiu could do what Guogua did. Guogua, stop fooling around. Sister Tang Jiu is just joking with you. Wan Qingshuang tried to smooth things over. Su Yin was in the wrong, and now Guogua was making things difficult for Tang Jiu. She felt bad. Guogua didn't buy it. How is she fooling around? I didn't say that. She said that there's nothing she can't do in this world. You win. I'm willing to accept my loss. Tang Jiu snorted. Since she had made the bet, she had to accept her loss. The one who couldn't accept the loss was the most embarrassing. About the bicycle, we're even. When Guagua heard that she could save money, she immediately smiled and said, Old witch, seeing that you are also a particular person, this princess will not bicker with you. Little brat, let's wait and see. Since I'm in Hudong City today, that means we'll meet again in the future. Tangjio said. It's hard to say who will win the next time. Suyin smiled. You're welcome to Hudong City. Humph. Like father, like daughter. Tangjio did not love the house and its crow. He even looked down on Suyin. Wan Qingshuang frowned. Miss Tangjio, how can you do that? I have to pay you back for the bicycle. Are you looking down on me? I've already said that I'm willing to accept my loss. I don't want it anymore. Tangjio said stubbornly. Suyin didn't say anything courteous. Okay, then when you come to Hudong in the future, you can come to the restaurant if you want to eat. It's free of charge. Take it as my thanks for lending me your car the other day. Tangjio glared. Fine, I'll eat until you're broke. Chapter 123. Suyin, you're a guest. Aren't you going to send me off? Tangjio was already at the door, but she realized that Suyin had no intention of getting up. She was upset. She couldn't accept being ignored. Wan Qingshuang pushed Suyin. Go send her off. Suyin was about to break down because of the clothes on his body. He could only endure it for a while. It wasn't a big deal to send her off. Seeing the two of them leave, Guagua put her hands on her waist. Mom, it's already so late. You're letting Dad go out with a stranger. Aren't you jealous? Oh. Wan Qingshuang looked at Guagua speechlessly. Go upstairs and get dressed. Guagua stuck out her tongue and ran upstairs. The two of them walked out of the medicinal cuisine restaurant and came to the car. Suyun's mission was completed. Drive carefully. If you have the chance, come and try the medicinal cuisine. Because Tangjio's charm was too strong, Suyin could only come in to avoid being alone with her. He wasn't a cat that didn't eat fish. If he didn't want to make a mistake, he had to deal with it at the root. Of course, although the people in your restaurant don't really welcome me. Tangjio snorted. I won't miss the chance to taste good food for free. I've heard about the medicinal cuisine in Hudong City. I'm looking forward to it. Why don't you order 2 medicinal cuisines and take them away? Suyin smiled bitterly. He was just being polite. Did she have to agree so quickly? With Tangjio's personality, she would definitely fight with Guagua. If she fought with Choyun, Sai, the consequences would be unimaginable. Tangjio rolled her eyes at Suyin. Only a fatty would eat at this time. Suyin sighed lightly. As expected of the demeanor of a young lady from a prestigious family, she even controlled her meals. Her expectations for herself were too high. He couldn't do it. He was very hungry now and wanted to eat a big meal. Tangjio wasn't in a hurry to leave after getting in the car. Instead, he handed the receipt of the bicycle to Suyin through the window. Don't worry. The food I ate definitely isn't worth this money. Suyin took the receipt and smiled bitterly. It was really a bicycle worth more than 30,000 yuan. Damn Jin Biao. If there was a chance, he would definitely settle the score with him. Now that Jin Biao was in prison, it was already very miserable. If he knew that Suyin was still thinking about him, he would probably even have the heart to die. After watching Tangjio drive away, Suyin felt that the atmosphere around the medicinal cuisine restaurant was a little strange. Logically speaking, Choyun shouldn't be too far away, but she didn't seem to be around the restaurant. Suyin frowned as an ominous premonition arose in his heart. Since Green Ghost was already here, there was no reason not to attack. Could it be that Green Ghost wanted to play dirty with them? It couldn't be. This ominous premonition made Suyin frown more and more. Just as Tangjio's car was about to disappear in front of Suyun's eyes, the brake light suddenly lit up. Suyin vaguely saw the rear of the car swing violently. Drifting? It couldn't be. After all, Tangjio didn't look like an unreliable person. She didn't need to drift alone in the middle of the night. Suyin didn't have time to think too much and immediately ran forward. His keen sense of smell made Suyin feel the threat from afar. He was very clear that Green Ghost had started to attack. He didn't want Tangjio to get involved in this mess for no reason. Tangjio was already scared out of her wits. Less than 200 meters away from the medicinal cuisine restaurant, a woman in leopard print tights suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. Tangjio was so scared that she slammed on the brakes. However, it was too sudden. Even if she managed to stop in time, the woman was still standing within the sudden braking distance. Seeing that the woman in front of her was about to be hit, Tangjio's heart was in her throat. She didn't want to cause any more trouble for the Tang family at this critical moment. If that happened, her uncles would have even more reason to take away her position in the Tang family. The Tang family's prosperity was almost all due to Tang Jingtian's own strength. Now that Tang Jingtian's body was in trouble, the other members of the Tang family wanted to take away his position in the Tang family. Right now, the only person who could help Tang Jingtian was his daughter, Tangjio. Tangjio didn't dare to do anything to her uncles because of her father's face. Now that they were so aggressive, Tangjio could only think of a place for her father to rest, and then think of a way to deal with the Tang family's bad habits. If Tangjio killed this person today, she would lose everything. However, the moment the car was about to hit the woman suddenly slapped the front of Tangjio's car with one hand. Her fingerprints were instantly imprinted on the hood of the car. The car came to an abrupt stop and tilted to one side. Tangjio, who was originally covered in cold sweat, was even more shocked. The woman in front of her was definitely not an ordinary person. Just this move alone was enough for her to conclude that she was an expert. This made Tangjio even more shocked. Who would plant an expert to attack her? Tangjio couldn't care less. She opened the door and got out of the car to escape. However, the woman didn't give Tangjio a chance to escape. She leaped into the air like a ferocious leopard and attacked Tangjio's back. Just as Tangjio thought that she was going to die, a silver figure flashed past. With a boom, a fist landed squarely on the woman's claw that was about to grab Tangjio's back. The woman in leopard print tights quickly jumped back. Her right foot landed in front of her as she took a right bow stance. Her upper body remained in a defensive position as she stared at the man who suddenly appeared in front of her. Your opponent should be me, right? It has nothing to do with her. Su Yun looked at the woman in leopard print tights. He looked at the woman's steel-like fingers and smiled. Leopard lady, if you can't even figure out who your opponent is, I'm afraid you won't be far from death. A leopard's might was not as strong as a tiger's, but its strength was greater than a tiger's. Leopards liked to jump and jump. They had to use all their strength, clench their fists, and bend their fingers like iron hooks. Su Yun recognized the opponent at a glance. To be able to use the leopard fist so skillfully, who else could it be other than Leopard Lady? Tangjio was stunned. Looking at Su Yun's lightning-fast moves, she finally knew why the Bicycle Association's captain couldn't catch up to Su Yun that day. It turned out that Su Yun was not an ordinary person. He was an expert that was different from ordinary people. Leopard Lady was recognized by Su Yun, and did not deny it. She sneered. As expected of the person that our boss has taken a fancy to. You are indeed not simple. Leopard Lady, a first-rate realm level 5 expert. She was like the Black Widow and other poisonous women in the underground world. Although she became famous later, her actions were vicious. Her notoriety was far higher than that of the violent fox Venerable Cho Yun. Ever since Cho Yun joined Feng Qiansui's faction, the name Leopard Lady had been added to the list of women who stirred up trouble in the underground world. She has nothing to do with me, so don't get the wrong opponent. As Su Yun spoke, he had already forced his true chi out of his body, and a powerful pressure attacked Leopard Lady. Leopard Lady was slightly startled. Her thoughts were the same as Green Ghost's. When Scarlet Scorpion told them that he had met an opponent that surpassed the realm of a super expert, they didn't believe him at all. They only thought that the opponent was at most a first-rate realm level 9 expert, and Scarlet Scorpion was afraid of being scolded by their boss, so he exaggerated. In Green Ghost's opinion, although a first-rate realm level 9 expert was terrifying, if the 3 people he left behind avoided the attack, they would not die. If they joined hands, they would have an absolute chance of winning. That was why he chose to leave and not fight. Moreover, this kind of expert was like a treasure, so Green Ghost couldn't bear to kill him. That was why he decided to let the 3 people he left behind control the people around him, and then use coercion to force Su-yin to join him. This way, the Green Ghost sect would become even more terrifying. Leopard Lady's target was originally Qin Wan-er, but she didn't expect that there would be an accident midway. There were too many policemen around Qin Wan-er, so it would be too easy for her to expose herself. At this time, Tang Jiu took the initiative to contact Su-yin, and even sent Su-yin back to the medicinal cuisine house. This made her think of making a move on Tang Jiu. Tang Jiu still didn't understand what was going on, and even thought that this woman's target was him. It seems that boss has really underestimated you. Humph, our target is only Fox Venerable and that child. It has nothing to do with you. Why are you helping them? Leopard Lady quickly became nervous. A super expert. That was an expert who was at the same level as Boss Green Ghost. She would definitely not rashly attack a super expert. That was tantamount to hitting a rock with an egg. Although she also had the yin-yang pill on her, she knew very well that even if she relied on medicine, she could only fight against a first-rate realm level 9 expert. It was absolutely useless against a real super expert. After all, a super expert's internal strength had already been transformed into a true qi, so she couldn't hurt him. Green Ghost left. Su-yin was startled. He didn't expect Green Ghost to be so arrogant, but Su-yin still carefully considered the credibility of Leopard Lady's words. Why should I believe you? Leopard Lady snorted. Do you think that if our boss was here he would still need to waste time with you like this? These words were indeed true. Su-yin suddenly narrowed his eyes, and the corner of his mouth revealed an evil sneer. Since Green Ghost looked down on him, then there was no need for him to be merciful. Anyone who was a threat to them would be killed. After feeling the strong killing intent of the other party, Leopard Lady finally lost her calm. It's useless even if you kill me. I'm afraid that Violent Fox Venerable has already been controlled by Flowery Monk. Only I know where they are. If you kill me, don't even think about finding her. What did you say? Su-yin clenched his fist until it made a loud cracking sound. No wonder Cho-yun didn't come back after leaving. It turned out that he had met his match. Flowery Monk was a first-rate expert who was on par with Scarlet Scorpion. If it wasn't because Scarlet Scorpion's concealed weapon was better than Flowery Monk's Demo Pearl, then the title of the #1 expert under Green Ghost's command might have been Flowery Monk. Cho-yun was probably more of a threat to Flowery Monk than Scarlet Scorpion. After all, Scarlet Scorpion was purely sinister and ruthless, while Flowery Monk was addicted to women. Su-yin didn't dare to imagine what would happen if Cho-yun was defeated by Flowery Monk. Let's make a deal. Leopard Lady could see the anger in Su-yun's heart. If she wanted to keep her life, then she had to give him a reason to keep her life. Let me go now, and I'll bring you to find Violent Fox Venerable and Flowery Monk. How could Su-yin not see through Leopard Lady's thoughts? As long as he followed along, then she could join hands with Flowery Monk. If 2 first-rate experts were to consume the forbidden medicine, yin-yang pill, at the same time, there was still a possibility for them to fight against him. Since that was the case, then Su-yin would let them know what a true super expert was. He also wanted to experience Leopard Lady's Leopard Fist and Flowery Monk's Demo Pearl, so he agreed, all right. Chapter 124. Tang Jiu looked at Su-yin blankly. Su-yin helped her to the car and whispered, "This has nothing to do with you. You should leave Hudong as soon as possible. I don't want anything to happen to you in my territory." Who are they? Tang Jiu was not someone who had not experienced great storms. She calmed down very quickly after the shock. Why would they attack you? Su-yin smiled. He could come up with an answer for Tang Jiu's calmness. She had seen experts before, so she was calm. Looking at the Panther Lady who was 30 meters away from him, Su-yin told Tang Jiu in a voice that only the 2 of them could hear. After tonight they will all be dead. Without waiting for Tang Jiu to speak again, Su-yun's figure flashed and directly jumped towards the Panther Lady. The Panther Lady did not hesitate and immediately turned to run. The 2 of them quickly disappeared into the night, leaving Tang Jiu standing alone beside the car. Occasionally, A few passing cars would honk angrily, and even roll down their windows to curse the guy who parked in the middle of the road. However, they were all stunned by Tangjio's beauty. Tangjio sat in the car, her heart surging. If she could have Su-Yun's help, why would she need to be afraid of the threats of her uncles? Since her father's condition could no longer be improved, she might as well let him completely withdraw from the internal strife of the Tang family, and leave the rest to her. No matter what, Tangjio had already made a decision. She had to get Su-Yun's help. Since that was the case, she could not sit by and do nothing. Thinking of this, Tangjio turned the car around and quickly returned to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Although that brat was despicable, she still decided to help Su-Yun protect the people in the restaurant. The environment within a 1-kilometer radius of the medicinal cuisine restaurant was too quiet, so Cho-Yun felt uneasy. Just as she was about to go back and tell Su-Yun about this uneasiness, a figure blocked her from behind. Violent Fox Venerable, I didn't expect you to be able to escape from the hands of the boss. Hee, the taste of the 7 extinction palms must not be pleasant, right? The voice was sharp and high-pitched, just like a woman's. However, this person's body shape was completely different from a woman's. He had a bald head and an abnormal height of more than 2 meters. Coupled with his rock-hard muscles, there was a string of fist-sized steel prayer beads around his neck. He was simply a monster. Cho-Yun was shocked. She quickly turned around and leaped out. With a flash of cold light, the Dragon Abyss flexible sword was already in her hand. She cried out in alarm, "Flowery monk!" Green Ghost didn't appear, but Green Ghost's subordinates appeared again. Cho-Yun was shocked, but at the same time, she was glad that it wasn't Green Ghost. If it was Green Ghost, she really didn't know if she would have the courage to fight again. The Flowery Monk was a man second only to Scarlet Scorpion in the Green Ghost sect. However, he himself didn't think so. He never felt that Scarlet Scorpion was very powerful. He was just a vile person who could pretend to be profound and use hidden weapons. Hee, Fox Venerable, this poor monk has always admired you. If you follow this poor monk can also plead for you in front of the boss. The Flowery Monk's bald head was especially dazzling under the night light. His pair of narrowed eyes sized up Cho-Yun's perfect body without any hesitation. Cho-Yun naturally knew of the Flowery Monk's evil reputation. This person's heart was very lascivious. He was filled with greed for money, power, status, and women. His bald head wasn't because he was a monk, but because he was born bald. When he first came out of the underground world, he received the title of a monk. However, later on, because he committed all kinds of crimes, he was called the Flowery Monk by more people. Because the things he did were heinous, he quickly became a wanted man. In order to save his life, the Flowery Monk became a subordinate of Green Ghost and concealed his identity. He hid for more than 3 years, so much so that many people even forgot about this evil person in the past. And this time, during the conflict in the underground world of Suang, the Flowery Monk once again appeared in the underground world. The moment he appeared, he did a few crazy things. Among them, he raped the wife and daughter of the leader of a small underground force in Suang, and molested a young girl, who wasn't even 10 years old. In short, this person's actions were really heinous. Cho-Yun's eyes suddenly revealed a cold light. The Long Yuan soft sword in her hand trembled, and made a hissing sound. She directly pierced towards the Flowery Monk's face. The Flowery Monk was shocked. He didn't expect Cho-Yun to attack him without any warning. However, although he was shocked, he didn't panic. He quickly retreated to avoid the attack, and quickly took out the pure steel Buddha beads on his neck. It was a bit far-fetched to say that his weapon was Buddha beads. After all, no one had seen Buddha beads made of steel. However, the Flowery Monk carved the 6 characters of the Great Bright Mantra, Mani Padme Hum, and the Great Merciful Great Guanyin Bodhisattva Mantra on each of the fist-sized steel beads. He even named his weapon Dharma beads. Fox Venerable, this poor monk has given you a chance. If you don't grab it, don't blame this poor monk for being rude to you. The Flowery Monk's face turned red and white. Then he sneered. Hee, this poor monk likes to resist. It'll be boring if you don't resist. Shut your dog mouth. Cho-Yun used Cloud Piercing Kick to hook the Flowery Monk's chin. Once again, The flowery monk was forced to retreat by Cho Yun's swift and violent attacks. Then Cho Yun used wind-destroying grass to directly cut the flowery monk's neck. Pa! The flowery monk suddenly waved the Dharma beads in his hand and directly deflected Cho Yun's Dragon Abyss flexible sword. If it was a normal sword, it would have broken into pieces. Fortunately, the Dragon Abyss flexible sword was a century-old famous sword. In addition, Cho Yun's body was protected by her inner energy. Therefore, it did not suffer much damage. Fox Venerable, I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the child and play with me for one night. Then, I'll let you live. The flowery monk sneered and licked his lips. You should know that if I bring you back to boss, you'll definitely suffer a fate worse than death. Try me if you can. Cho Yun's murderous aura became more and more intense. The flowery monk had completely stimulated her murderous intent. The flowery monk's gaze turned cold. He really could not bear to attack such a beautiful woman. However, since she refused to obey him, there was nothing he could do. Fox Venerable, I know what you're thinking. Don't think that you can escape this disaster just because you have a helper by your side. Although boss has left, I'm not the only one left in Hudong. What? Cho Yun's expression changed. She was shocked. She did not know what Green Ghost was going to do. So the violent Fox Venerable also has times when she's afraid. Another voice came from behind Cho Yun. Cho Yun was shocked and quickly turned around. The man behind her had deep eye sockets. His hair was messy like firewood. His red lips were brighter than a woman's. His huge rosacea made his facial features unbalanced. There was also a deep scar on his left cheek. It was obvious that it was left behind because the wound was not treated in time. What an ugly man. He was as ugly as one could imagine. The scarred clown. Cho Yun could not help but exclaim in her heart. The ugly man raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a creepy smile. I didn't expect so many people in this world to recognize me. Cho Yun's mind buzzed. When did the scarred clown become a member of the Green Ghost sect? She could not describe her shock with words. After all, the scarred clown was a legend 5 years ago. 5 years ago, he was already a top-tier ranked 9 master. But wasn't he already locked up in the international prison of Mardi Franz Island? How did he escape? How did he become Green Ghost's subordinate? Hee Fox Venerable, I remember that you were fighting with me. You didn't have time to be distracted, right? Before Cho Yun could recover from her shock, the flowery monk's voice rang out behind her. Although I'm a person who has tender feelings for the fairer sex, I've never had tender feelings for a woman who doesn't obey me. The fist-sized demo bead hit Cho Yun's back with a huge force. Cho Yun did not have time to defend and took the hit directly. Cho Yun spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered 2 steps forward. Cho Yun's body that had been recuperating since she came to Hudong City was injured again. It was not because she was too weak, but because her opponent was too strong. You shouldn't have entered my attack range. The scarred clown sneered at Cho Yun. His ugly face looked particularly scary in the night. He suddenly raised 2 daggers in his hands and said coldly, I hate people who are prettier than me the most. Several cold lights suddenly slashed at Cho Yun's cold face. Cho Yun was shocked and quickly raised the Dragon Abyss to block. After 2 clangs, Cho Yun was finally unable to block all the attacks of this fierce person, who was a few levels higher than her. Seeing that the knife was about to cut through Cho Yun's face, the flowery monk suddenly swung the demo bead and knocked away the daggers in the scarred clown's hands. He scolded sternly, Are you crazy? You want to destroy such a beautiful face. I still want to take a few more looks. The scarred clown sneered. Since he had just arrived at the Green Ghost sect, he did not flare up at the flowery monk. Then we'll talk when you're tired of playing. A perverted smile appeared on the flowery monk's face. He said to Cho Yun with a lewd smile, Hee. How can I be tired of playing with such a beautiful woman? Before you become the boss's slave, I won't let go of this opportunity. If you become the boss's slave, I won't have the chance to touch you. Aren't you afraid that the boss will know that you touched her? The scarred clown said coldly. The flowery monk's eyes flashed with a ferocious light. I can cut off her tongue. When the time comes, if she doesn't say anything, you don't say anything, and I don't say anything either. How will the boss know? The scarred clown snorted and ignored this guy who was more daring than the heavens. Cho Yun endured the injury on her back and took advantage of the moment when the flowery monk was distracted to get up and escape. She knew very well that she was no match for the two of them. If she did not inform Su Yin as soon as possible, things would be troublesome. Seeing Cho Yun escape, the flowery monk was shocked. He did not expect her to be so agile after being hit by his attack. Chapter 125. The flowery monk said angrily, "Don't hurt my beauty." However, the scarred clown was too lazy to care about the flowery monk. The daggers in his hands were like two dragons searching for pearls as he attacked Cho Yun's face. In his eyes, the violent fox venerable was not a weak woman. After all, she was a famous figure in the underground world. Cho Yun quickly blocked with her sword. The weapons clashed and sparks flew in the dark. Cho Yun had already been hit by the flowery monk's attack from the back. She was afraid that her injury would worsen, so she did not use all her strength to fight back. She could only retreat in defeat. "Beauty, are you all right?" The flowery monk was already standing behind Cho Yun. His smile made him look even more despicable. Cho Yun did not say anything. Her face was gloomy and ruthless. She quickly turned around and stabbed the flowery monk's throat like lightning. The flowery monk was shocked. He quickly waved his pure steel Buddha beads to block the attack. He couldn't believe that Cho Yun, who had just received a heavy blow from him, could still have such a quick reaction speed. He didn't dare to let his guard down. The steel balls in his hands danced, and a combo strike golden bell directly smashed towards Cho Yun. If Cho Yun retreated, she could definitely avoid the flowery monk's attack. However, the murderous aura behind her made her cautious. She knew that if she retreated, she would easily enter the scarred clown's attack range. She would then be attacked from both sides, and would have no chance to defend herself. With that thought, Cho Yun turned around and used the Long Yuan soft sword to block the flowery monk's double attack. Cho Yun was already at her limit after taking the first attack. The second attack injured her again. After all, close combat was not Cho Yun's forte. She needed space to fight as she was good at using the soft sword. The two opponents were top-notch experts. Obviously, they knew this very well. Therefore, they did not give Cho Yun any space to attack. Under the pincer attack of the two, Cho Yun did not have any space to attack. Cho Yun's eyes were like lightning. Her heart skipped a beat. If she was captured alive, she would be humiliated. She might as well fight to the death now. At least she would have a chance to perish together with them. Since she could no longer protect Guogua, this was the only way she could help Su Yun. Cho Yun's opponents were both stronger than her. And the scarred clown was much stronger than her. Since she chose to perish together, of course, she had to find a more dangerous opponent. The decision was made in an instant. The dragon's abyss sword in Cho Yun's hand danced. Several sword rays flew out like wild grass, forcing flowery monk to continuously retreat. Blood sacrifice. Cho Yun suddenly shouted angrily. She quickly turned around and faced the scarred clown like a phantom. She became one with her sword. Her dragon abyss was like an eagle piercing through the sky as it pierced the opponent's chest. This was Cho Yun's all-out attack. There was no way to defend against it. The scarred clown's back instantly broke out in a cold sweat. Such a suicidal move could only be used by someone who had seen through life and death. Although with his strength he should be able to deliver a fatal blow to Cho Yun before she stabbed him, if he did not dodge properly, he was afraid that his chest would be directly torn apart by the sharp dragon abyss flexible sword. Cho Yun was forced into a corner. She was fighting like a cornered beast. The scarred clown was not stupid enough to fight the Fox Supreme head-on. Faced with Cho Yun's fatal attack, he did not care about his identity as an expert. He retreated and rolled to dodge in an extremely pathetic manner. He had no intention of fighting. Cho Yun was shocked when her attack missed. She did not expect the scarred clown to be so meticulous. He actually saw through her intentions. "Little beauty, you're committing suicide." The flowery monk was also shocked by Cho Yun's attack. If he still couldn't see through Cho Yun's thoughts, then he would have wasted his 30 years of life. However, this poor monk can't bear to let you die. As he spoke, The scarred clown suddenly spat out a silver light from his mouth. It directly pierced Cho Yun's left shoulder. Cho Yun was unable to dodge as she had used up all her strength in the previous attack. After her left shoulder was pierced, she instantly felt dizzy. She knew that this was not good. This was definitely not a poisonous needle. It was smeared with a drug that could dispel one's soul. Although she understood everything, Cho Yun could no longer control her body. After her mind went blank, she fell to the ground. Hee, thank you. The flowery monk bowed to the scarred clown. Then he unceremoniously went forward and carried Cho Yun on his shoulder. What a little beauty! But I still prefer her to be stronger. Ha ha ha, it will taste better if she is stronger. This way, the taste will be greatly reduced. Monk, your mouth is too picky. The scarred clown said coldly. If I didn't make a move, I'm afraid she would have already committed suicide. Don't say that it won't taste good. You won't bring the corpse back to the bed, right? The flowery monk shuddered. Scar, don't think of me as such a dirty person. My taste isn't that heavy. Stop talking, it's making this penniless monk nauseous. The scarred clown was still sneering. Let's go. I think Panther Lady will bring that woman back soon. The flowery monk smiled evilly and nodded. Hee, it seems like I'm in luck tonight. It's been a long time since I tasted a pair of swallows. Monk, if that guy called Su Yin agrees to our request, don't even think about touching these two women. The scarred clown sneered. You better not forget what our mission is. The opponent is someone who can defeat Red Scorpion. The flowery monk snorted and said unhappily, Scar, you better not order me around. You're just a newbie in the Blue Ghost sect. In the Blue Ghost sect, only Blue Ghost himself knew that the scarred clown's strength was already above Red Scorpion's. The flowery monk had always been conceited. He didn't even think that his strength was below Red Scorpion's, so he didn't put the scarred clown in his eyes. The scarred clown had no intention of arguing with him. He knew very well why Green Ghost wanted him to stay behind this time. He wanted him to guard the mountain. If the flowery monk and the panther girl couldn't handle it, he had to take the risk by himself. Now that Red Scorpion had been completely abandoned by Blue Ghost, even if he dared to return, he would only die. Therefore, this mission was the proof that he, the scarred clown, was the #1 expert under Blue Ghost. He couldn't allow anything to go wrong. Of course, if he wanted to secure his position as the #1 expert, he had to use force to conquer the people they had to deal with this time. The two quickly arrived at their temporary hideout in the southern suburbs. There was nothing here except for weeds. After they completed the mission, they only needed to light a fire and no evidence would be left behind. The flowery monk couldn't wait to put Cho Yun on the ground. He took off his clothes and grabbed Cho Yun's collar with both hands. Whoosh! A cold light flashed. The scarred clown's dagger sank into the ground in front of the flowery monk. Scar, what's the meaning of this? The flowery monk said coldly. I don't have any grudges with you. You better mind your own business. The scarred clown didn't care about the flowery monk at all. He didn't even look at him. You. The flowery monk glared. If he didn't have a mission, he would have already turned hostile. He lowered his head to look at Cho Yun, who was still cold even though she was unconscious. The flowery monk's lust exploded again. He didn't care about anything else. He wanted to feel good first. Monk, you better not mess around. The scarred clown said indifferently. None of us can figure out what level our opponent is. If your actions anger him, we won't be able to carry out the mission smoothly. The flowery monk clenched his teeth. I don't care. So what if I anger him? I don't believe that he's much stronger than me. It's just that the trash Scarlet Scorpion hasn't been dealt with yet, and he's already made boss so nervous. I'm going to anger him today. After saying that, the flowery monk ignored the scarred clown's dissuasion and grabbed Cho Yun's collar again. Stop. The panther girl's rebuke from afar was like a clap of thunder that smashed into the flowery monk's ears. The flowery monk couldn't hide his anger anymore. He roared furiously. Is it that hard for me to do something? The scarred clown's attention wasn't on the panther girl at all. He looked at the person following closely behind the panther girl, and his face changed slightly. The panther girl's face was calm, and she quickly joined her own team. Since both of them were here, she had nothing to be afraid of. After the flowery monk's anger dissipated, he realized that there was an uninvited guest behind the panther girl. His face darkened. Panther girl, didn't we agree that you would capture that woman? Why did you lure the main character here today? It just so happens that I have a stomach full of anger and need to find someone to vent it. The scarred clown also stood up. Panther girl, why didn't you follow the plan? Do you think I want to do this? I was bumped into by him midway. I had no choice but to bring him here. The panther girl said coldly, you two better be careful. Scarlet Scorpion didn't lie to boss. The other party is indeed not a simple person. The scarred clown and the flowery monk's faces changed drastically. What did she mean that Scarlet Scorpion didn't lie to boss? Scarlet Scorpion said that the opponent was a super expert, a terrifying expert on the same level as Boss Green Ghost. No one would believe such words. If the Violent Fox Venerable knew such an expert, she would have invited him over before the Fong family was annihilated, right? Why did he only come over now? Everyone thought that Scarlet Scorpion was lying. Even Green Ghost thought so. Therefore, when the panther girl said these words, the scarred clown and the flowery monk's faces changed. It should be said that they were completely unprepared to face a super expert. The scarred clown had thought that the opponent might be a top-tier expert like himself. However, he never thought that the opponent would be even more terrifying than he imagined. He was actually someone who had broken through the top-tier expert's mental state. This matter seemed to be much more troublesome than they had imagined. Of course, after the scarred clown estimated his chances of winning, he became more confident. After all, he had his own strength. The flowery monk and the panther girl were also top-tier experts. One of them was a top-tier expert, while the other was a top-tier expert. With the three of them working together, and the yin-yang pill, they had at least a 60 to 70% chance of winning. 60 to 70% chance of winning is enough. The scarred clown thought to himself. Who hurt her? That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.